You're up.
Okay. I call to order the regular meeting of the Oradell Zoning Board of Adjustment for December 16, 2024. It is 7:30 p.m. Notice of this meeting was published in the official newspaper, prominently posted in Borough Hall, and filed with the clerk's office in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must always be maintained. Any questions and comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision. Steve, roll call.
Mr. Camparelli?
Here.
Mr. Bartlett?
Here.
Mr. Devine?
Here.
Mr. Santaniello?
Here.
Mrs. Cobb?
Here.
And Mr. Michaelman.
Here. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Next, approval of the zoning board minutes of November 18, 2024. Does anyone have any,
Watch the step.
Steve?
Careful.
Okay, how you do? Let's mark Ms. Zadinsky as present. She just arrived.
And Ms. Odinsky? Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments, changes, alterations to the minutes as submitted? In that case, may I have a motion to accept the minutes as submitted?
Also move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Minutes are approved. All right, we're going to be going into a closed session, I hope for only a few minutes. That means we're going to disappear into that room. We're going to discuss personnel matters. So that can't be discussed at an open session. But we'll be back. We love you. Don't worry about it.
Chairman,
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
resolution, do you want me to read it, or?
Yes, please read the resolution.
I'll be quick. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12B, permits a public body to exclude the public portion of the meeting at which certain items are discussed, whereas the Board of Adjustment deems it necessary to conduct a closed session and to exclude the public on December 16th, at which time personnel matters will be discussed. Now therefore be resolved that the zoning board does hereby exclude the public portion of the meeting at which time the above item will be discussed. Be it further resolved that the discussion conducted in closed session will be disclosed to the public upon completion or conclusion of the foregoing item, and when determined by the board that the borough's interest will not be adversely affected. We need a motion and a second. Seconded by Mr. Devine. Okay.
And everybody says aye? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's go.
I'll give this to Steve.
can open one of these, I think.
Hi, Tom. How are you? Good.
Okay, thank you all. I apologize for the delay, but we do have certain things that we have to handle. Let's see, what did I do with my agenda? I think I left it in there. May I borrow your agenda? All right, next. Correspondence is listed on the agenda, so anybody who wishes, it's on file in Steve's office. The zoning board procedures. We act in the nature of a court. What happens when someone wants to do something to their property, they go to Steve's office and ask for a permit. If it's in keeping with, with what's permitted by the code, they get their permit. If there's a problem, that's denied, and under certain circumstances described in the municipal land use law, they could appeal that denial. They come before the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and the purpose of this board is to make adjustments when possible and required by law. It's up to the applicant to demonstrate that they should get the adjustment. It is not up to us to demonstrate that they should be denied. So they come forward, they put forward their proofs, explain why they should get it. If they have witnesses, we question the witnesses. The members of the public can question the witnesses as well. When everything is done, we vote. If we say yes, they get their approval. If we say no, they can go to court and challenge our decision. So that's where we are. We act, as I say, we act in the nature of a court. Those of you who watch the mayor and council meeting or the planning board meeting, they're more a legislature, not a court. So things are a little bit different in terms of what people can say and do at those meetings. All right. Bob, if you would swear in Steve and the other professionals?
Yeah, Carolyn's stepped out, but she won't be involved in the one on Sherlock application.
Right, yes, and she's been
already
sworn on the other
sworn
two.
on the other two.
Yes.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be true, shall be God.
I do.
Let the record reflect that the borough engineer and the construction official have been sworn. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. So we're not going to start any new cases after 10:30. We have 3 cases. I've allotted 1 hour each for them, though I'm hoping that the first case will take less time than that. With that, I will call, no,
The resolution.
we've got resolutions. We've got 2 resolutions to approve. Christian Brothers Institute, known as Bergen Catholic, request for extension of approvals. You all have that. No point in discussing it any further unless someone wants to. No? Can I have a motion to approve that resolution?
Also move.
Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. Next, Corral to Holt. That's one we heard last meeting. Once again, does anybody have any changes to that? And can I have a motion to approve that resolution?
Also move.
I have the second. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. Now we get into the meat and why everybody's here. You didn't come to watch us approve of resolutions. I understand that. Calendar 884-24, Sherlock, 783 Clinton Avenue. Please come forward. Now, what on earth did I do? Oh, it's right here. No, it's-
Chairman, I need to swear the applicant and the architect in. Steve, the notices are in order, I assume?
Yes, they are.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give in this proceeding shall be true, shall be God.
I do.
For the record, have your full name, please, and spell your last name.
Sure. Brian Callahan, Callahan. Business address is 40A Tillman Street, Westwood, New Jersey.
You are the applicant's architect.
Yes.
As the board is aware, Mr. Callahan has been
Yes.
here numerous times. He became deemed qualified in the field of architecture. Sir, could we have your name, please?
Brian Sherlock, Sherlock.
Thank you.
And I will note we do accept you as an expert witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Your case.
So the property in discussion with this application is 783 Clinton Avenue. I'm going to be referring to a set of plans that are dated September 17th, 2024 that were submitted with this application.
Can mark them A1.
Yes.
Yep. The set of plans consists of 4 sheets, A1 through A4. A1 has our site diagram on the front page and the zoning data. The property is in the R3 zone, where 9,000 square feet is a minimum lot area required. We have a 10,000 square foot lot. Actually, this is on the dead end of Clinton Avenue. The survey shows Iroquois Street, and it also mentions that it's unimproved. So there is just a paper street here. And for purposes of zoning, I looked at this as a corner lot, even though that's an unimproved street. Thought that was maybe the worst case scenario. So we're really here for one variance. We're proposing a second-story addition. And the way the house is currently situated, there is a deficiency in the side yard where 10 feet is required. On the east side of this property, there's 8.3 feet currently. And our second-story addition would not further encroach into that 8.3 feet. It would line up with the gable end and line up with the front and back exterior walls of the house. With that, about 224 square foot addition on the second floor. That will put with that, we are still in conformance with respect to floor area ratio, building coverage, lot coverage, pretty much everything else we are in conformance with. A2 shows the floor plans, and the second floor plan is on the right-hand side. Currently, there is 2 bedrooms on the second floor. And we're just looking to convert that left side of the house to contain two bedrooms. The first floor plan is also shown on the A2 sheet just for informational purposes and square footage counts. And A3 and A4 depict the exterior elevations, and there are a couple of perspective views on the A4 sheet at the bottom that show kind of like a 3D view of what we're doing. We're going to keep the Tudor style and stucco and board and batten type architecture, and the building height does not change. And in my estimation, our hardship here is the existing siting of the house. The fact that the way the house was situated was sort of non-conforming with respect to that side yard setback. That's all I have.
Do you have anything you'd want to add?
No, this is, I feel like we're just an opportunity for us to put a second bedroom for our daughter.
Does any member of the board have any questions for the architect? No? Nothing? All right. Then, any of the professionals? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just want to, just to be clear, so right now there's only 2 bedrooms on the second floor, is that right?
Correct.
Yes.
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
No, I just, no questions?
Thank you.
No. I was just curious, are you moving the chimney? Because I was trying to picture it when I looked at the plans, and it looked like the chimney was,
No.
Okay.
It's gonna stay the same.
all right, plans just looked a little strange in that regard.
Building up to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No questions there? That's it? Any more? No. I'll open it to the public. Does any member of the public have any questions of the architect on his testimony? Not seeing a show of hands, I'll close to the public.
Or comments, too.
Oh,
Comments.
I'm sorry, yes. Any comments? No. Not seeing a show of hands, close that to the public as well. Do you have any closing comments that you would make?
I would just say, in my estimation, it's sort of a modest addition. It's trying to bring the second floor and the rest of the house up to sort of present-day standards with the 3 bedrooms on the second floor. And again, we're not going past any of the first floor structure that's there now.
Okay. My thoughts when I looked at it, one thing, you abut the woods, so one of your neighbors is trees and deer and squirrels. Looked to me as if you're just bringing the house into the 21st century and making it more of a livable asset, which is good for the borough. So I thought it was a very good design. We'll start down here. Do you have any comments?
Other than that, no. It makes sense to me, and you know, you're basically dealing with the existing encroachment, you're not adding to it, so makes sense.
I echo the chairman's remarks. I mean, obviously, working with 2 bedrooms has got to be tough for a growing family. Bringing it up to today's standards, 3 bedrooms to match the neighborhood, like you said, is overall better for the borough.
Yep, I agree. I like the design too. I think it's hard to add on to a Tudor and still sort of retain that nice architectural element, but I think you did a great job. The renderings look really nice.
Thank you.
Yes, agreed to everything said. Looks great.
Agree. Looks good.
Nothing to add.
Same here.
Okay, get a bunch of dittos. In that case, can I have a resolution in the affirmative or the negative on this resolution? Somebody, anybody?
Yep. I'll move that we approve calendar item 884-24 on the grounds that the applicant has met the burden as required by the municipal land use law.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Steve, you want to call the roll?
Only 7 members should vote.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do have one alternate who will not be voting.
Mr. Camporelli is sitting in for Mr. Barrows.
Yes.
Ms. Day?
Yes.
And Mr. Camporelli?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Ms. Odinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Devine?
Yes.
Mr. Santaniello?
Yes.
Mrs. Cobb?
Yes.
Mr. Michaelman?
Yes. Okay, congratulations. We've approved it. Now, there's a 45-day period in which people can take exception to what we've done, and that doesn't even start until next meeting when a resolution will be passed by this board. So really, you have about 75, 80 days. Please don't start anything before that. And since Steve won't give you a building permit until then, that kind of makes it difficult. But congratulations and thank you for your time.
Thank you,
all.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Now, calendar 874-24 BCUW Madeline Housing Partner LLC. And you're going to step down. And let's see, it's 7:56. We're going to break for at 9 o'clock, about 9, we'll try and take a 10-minute break. And let's see, 8 o'clock. Given that we finish that next thing, I think we can give you an hour and 15 instead of an hour.
So 9:15?
With 9:25.
Okay. Thank you. For the record, Bruce Whitaker from the firm McDonald & Whitaker, representing the applicant. At the November meeting, we had concluded our presentation on behalf of the applicant, and we basically moved all of the exhibits at that time. And so at this point, it would be up for members of the public and any objectors or people in support of the application to testify.
Mr. Whitaker, just so it's clear in my mind, I have exhibits up to A14.
That is correct.
Okay.
They were all moved.
Thank you.
Just a matter of procedure.
If you would identify yourself, please.
Yep. Good evening. Rob Simon from Herald Law. I know my colleague Christine Faustini was here at the last meeting on this application. My understanding is that Mr. Toronto provided some additional testimony at the end of that last meeting, and there was no opportunity for cross-examination at that time. And so my understanding is that there would be an opportunity to cross-examine, and it won't be that many questions for Mr. Toronto at this point.
Do you have Mr. Toronto here?
Mr. Toronto's here, yeah?
If you would have him,
He's still under oath.
yes, he remains under oath, and if you would go to the podium so that you can,
I dealt with her extensively.
sir, up there, you would,
Road litigation, if it's the same woman.
My apologies, Mr. Chairman and members. I wasn't expecting to testify tonight, so I'm a little bit casually dressed.
don't apologize, I wish I dressed that way.
My certification, everything.
Mr. Toronto, good evening.
Toronto's previously been sworn, obviously,
Yes.
and he remains under oath.
Wait,
Mr.
hold
Toronto,
on,
good
hold on.
evening.
Caroline, do you have something?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'm just consulting with counsel for a minute.
Yeah,
okay.
it's probably something we will have to talk to you about later on.
Okay, but let's let them finish, and then you can ask your question.
I didn't, wow. I'm shocked she came.
Go ahead.
Oh,
You can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Toronto. Good evening. Just a few questions. You talked about the project as a hybrid group home. You understand that that the applicant entered into a transfer and development agreement with the borough, correct?
It's okay.
Correct.
Okay. Did that agreement reference any type of hybrid group home, to your knowledge?
When I
Testified in this hearing, so.
when I testified about the hybrid model referred to the group home, which is a standard 4-bedroom group home, and the addition of 2 independent living apartments. The combination of the apartments and the group home is what we would call a hybrid model.
And I believe you testified at the last meeting that you have this hybrid model in other locations?
Yes, we're just getting a TCO from one in Fairlawn. We have one in Cresskill. We're planning to build in Alpine, similarly in Haworth, in Mawa, Florham Park, in planning one in Rumson, and there are several other communities that come to mind immediately.
And when you're referring to these other locations of having the hybrid group home, you're talking about having a group home and then these separate independent living apartments?
Yeah, it could be separate independent living apartments. It could also be separate affordable family apartments or a combination thereof, separate affordable senior apartments as well.
Okay. So when you're distinguishing the affordable family apartments or senior apartments from the independent living apartments that we have here in Oradell, do I take it that the 2 independent living apartments are not going to be affordable apartments?
No, they are.
They are going to be affordable apartments, okay. And with regard to the other locations that you mentioned, do those locations also have community rooms?
They do.
Okay. And what's the size of those community rooms?
From a square footage perspective?
Yes, if you know.
Roughly approximately the same size as what's here. They kind of vary depending upon the site that we're in.
And
I can't tell you specifically the square footage of each.
And do they all have the same number of independent living apartments, or do they vary?
They vary as well.
And in terms of the residents that will qualify to occupy the 4 group home units as well as the 2 independent living apartments, is it up to the operator to decide who will be residing in those units?
Yes, within the parameters of what the supportive housing use calls for, which is folks need to have an intellectual and developmental disability diagnosis, and also, of course, must be income eligible. After those sort of threshold criteria have been established, then yes, then the discretion in terms of how folks who will live there falls, in the case of the group home, to the operator. We are not the service provider. It would fall to us and the service provider for that selection. And then for the apartments, largely it would be our team selecting folks who could demonstrate the ability to live safely and securely in the setting.
So the sponsor doesn't have anything to do with the 2 independent apartments in terms of choosing who's going to live there?
We are the sponsor, so we have ultimate responsibility for who lives there.
And in terms of the group home units, how does that?
That's a shared responsibility with the operator, the service provider for the group home. We work collaboratively with the service provider. At the end of the day, since the group home will be licensed, they carry the weight of the decision, if you will.
And in terms of the use of the community room, other than for the residents of the group home, will it also be used for the residents of the independent living apartments?
Yes, it will.
And will it be used for any type of outside organization?
No, the only outside organization I could foresee coming there is typically we would have a resident meeting. We would invite the fire chief, the police chief, all of the uniformed services as a sort of an orientation and an introduction for the uniformed services, the emergency personnel to meet the residents and the residents to meet the service providers for the various emergency services.
Other than meeting with the service providers, municipality or otherwise, any other use of the community room other than for the residents?
No, the intent of the community room is for birthday parties, a Super Bowl party, resident meetings, as I mentioned. I could foresee perhaps Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, depending upon what their programming is, potentially doing an activity in the community room, perhaps. In Allendale, for example, there's a walking club that's organized, and they meet in the community room, and the residents in our Allendale supportive housing projects, go on regular walks with that kind of service organization. So I would anticipate that there might be some interaction with existing service organizations in Oradell to the extent that they're interested in participating.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any member of the public have any questions of the witness? Not seeing a show of hands, I'll close it to the public. No, we don't. You can go back.
Zoom my position. Thank you.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
We have concluded with that cross, and there's no other questions. Our case is closed.
That comes as a surprise to me. Okay. I thought we were going to go longer than that.
Well, so
Yeah.
Now is time, I guess, for the public, and we certainly have a number of witnesses. We have expert witnesses, and we have client witnesses, and if it's pleases the board, we'd like to commence our presentation at this time.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. There's no reason for us to start asking questions and making comments because we haven't heard anything, so go ahead.
So, members of the board, professionals, Rob Simon from Herald Law, what we'd like to start to do, and I know we did a little bit of a setup a couple of meetings ago, is start by presenting a PowerPoint presentation that was put together by various clients and other members of the public. So I would ask that you have the PowerPoint presentation? So is it all ready to go? Okay.
I don't remember.
Okay, so can I?
Has that been entered into evidence? I don't recall it.
Well, we're going to.
You're going to do that now?
We're going to do that as we
Okay.
go through.
No,
We're going to lay a foundation.
No, I misunderstood you. I thought you said you had done that already.
No.
Okay.
We have not yet, no.
Thank
That's
you.
what we intend to do.
Yeah, if you wish to.
Okay, if I,
Yes, by all means.
Thank you, Mr.
Two of you
Whitaker.
don't come to blows, please. Yeah. Is that hooked up so that we'll be able,
What's that?
in order to display it on the screen? Now,
Mr. Simon, do I need to swear this witness?
Yeah, so just give me 1 second.
yeah. Is that cord long enough?
Yeah, so there are various individuals who are going to be presenting various aspects of this PowerPoint presentation. We will be laying the appropriate foundation for each of the respective testimonies at each part of the PowerPoint.
We'll swear each one in separately.
I was going to say, it's really up to you if you'd like to
Yeah, we'll do
swear
them
them
one
in
at a time.
separately or...
Separately, I think
Okay.
it's more organized.
Okay.
Okay, so we start with the first part of the presentation, which is entitled Video from Corner of Genther Avenue and Brookside Avenue.
I think I need
So-
to swear her in now.
Yeah, well, no. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to get to that. So come on up. Go.
I'm going to swear both of you in, or
Yes, I have to, I'm moving the PowerPoint.
Mr. Simon, both?
Yes, please, for now. It's
All right, will you each raise your right hands, please?
both of you raise your
mic when
You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be the truth, shall be done. Okay, and we
Yes.
need your full name and spell your
Talk
last.
loudly and clearly, please.
Okay. My name is Akiko Kakehi, last name is Kakehi. I live at 575 Brookside Avenue.
Please spell your first name.
Akiko.
I'm Liam Oliver.
William
Liam Oliver.
Liam Oliver, okay.
Oliver. I live at 234 Maple Avenue.
So Liam, if you would start by describing what we're about to see in terms of, there's a slide up before the board entitled Video from Corner of Genther Avenue and Brookside Avenue.
Sure.
Can I explain first? I live at the right next to the project site, and I prepared this PowerPoint. In our presentation, the United Way proposed site is referred to as Lot 5, which is labeled in red in the picture, like the upper right corner right here. The camera location is marked by the orange arrow. The shooting direction is indicated by the yellow arrow, and the green star represents the presenter's house location. That's it.
You're going to get this authenticated as to who prepared?
I think we need to, Mr. Stein.
Yeah.
That's got to be the start.
Foundation.
What's also the foundation is that, can you explain what you did to prepare the PowerPoint?
The map of the project site, and I just put the videos and the map in here.
Where did the map come from?
The map is come from the NJ parcel, which is the
NJ parcel?
Yes, parcel, yes, which is tax map.
And who took the videos?
I did, sir.
So Liam, you took the video that we're about to see?
Yes.
And when did you take the video?
I took the video on June 8th, 2021.
And where were you situated when you took the video?
On the back corner of my lot on Genther and Brookside Avenue.
Okay. And you're representing under oath that this video actually accurately represents what you witnessed on that date and time that you took the video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please proceed.
This video shows an alarming and dangerous amount of water rushing down Brookside Avenue, flooding across Lot 5 and surrounding properties. This is not an isolated event. Similar floodings occur multiple times a year and has done so for years.
So why don't you play the video? Playing right now. Is this the video that you took? And what street are you taking a video of? This is Brookside Avenue.
And then that's the street sign at the corner.
When you say that's the street sign, I need you to use your words and describe for the record.
The green street sign there that says Genther Avenue with the yellow star is the corner of Genther Avenue and Brookside Avenue. That's set back about a foot from the curb. And we're looking at easily a foot of water rushing down past Lot 5 and all the surrounding properties.
And what is the significance of you presenting this video before this board?
This happens at least once a year, typically twice. Things out driveways, it floods, and making Lot 5 more impermeable than it is just going to push this water onto everybody else's property. So,
what was the date of this video?
June 8th, 2021. 2021. This is just one of the few.
When you say one of the few, and you describe once or twice a year, what you're experiencing once or twice a year in terms of the flooding conditions that we're seeing on that video at the intensity and amount and volume that we're seeing?
This is representative, yeah. This is comparable to what we usually see whenever there's a flash flooding event.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that is what we'll call slide 1. Let's move on to slide 2, I believe, through 7. So we need, Bob, someone else to be sworn in at this point.
So we're going to have the ability to cross-examine all the witnesses when they're all done, or one at a time?
Well, my preference would be one at a time, after each witness gives his testimony.
That's up to the board.
Would you like to cross-examine that witness now?
I assume he's done.
Yes, Mr. Oliver is completed.
And he'll be subject to cross-examination by the board and by Mr. Whitaker and by any member of the public.
Yeah, of course.
We'll start with you, Mr. Whitaker.
Mr. Oliver, do you have any other videos in the last 3 years after the 2021 incident?
I believe I do, yeah.
Do you have them with you to show tonight?
They're on my phone.
So you don't have any on this PowerPoint presentation?
Just the one, just because we didn't want to waste time.
Well, that's your opinion and waste time, but in any event, your background, you made a statement that more impervious coverage is going to create an additional flooding problem on Genther. What is your background? Are you an engineer?
I'm not an engineer. I'm an audio engineer, but I've done construction and I've worked in.
But you're not an engineer.
Wait. Let him answer the question, please.
I have worked in construction. My family's in construction. I have GCs. I have plumbers. I have electricians. I have worked and done career work in construction. I am not an engineer.
You're not a civil engineer?
I'm not a civil engineer.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
Any of the professionals, Bob?
I have none, but board members have a right.
Any member of the board have any questions of?
Ms. Ryder may have questions.
I'll let the board go, of course.
Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, sure. So you said this was, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I understood that you said that this was, that this, what you saw in the video was part of a very significant flash flooding event. Is that?
Yeah, this was.
Which does happen from time to time in
this
area.
happens every year, yes.
But in the town, it happens from time to time.
On our street, yes.
Okay.
Specifically on our street, it comes down from Kinderkamack.
Okay.
And anytime there's an overflow of water, it comes down Brookside Avenue.
Okay.
And across Lot 5.
That's it?
Yep.
Any other member of the board have a question? I was trying to search my memory. Didn't we have witnesses that indicated that you're going to do something that would either not cause any additional flooding or actually reduce the amount of flooding that was in there? Hold on, I'm asking, I like my term, okay. Didn't we have a witness on that, sir? Mr. Whitaker?
You had a civil engineer, David Falls, testify that there would be a reduction in the flow and the sheet flow that comes off of our property. You had Mr. Halls confirm that they will meet all of the stormwater management requirements of your ordinances or any state regulations, and I believe you have the concurrence of your engineer in the testimony that was brought forth already.
Okay, so my memory isn't faulty. I don't know if you heard that, but it was your thought, I don't want to say opinion because you're not an expert witness, but it was your thought that this would actually cause more flooding, but there was an expert witness that said there would actually be less. So I was wondering what you think of that.
My thought is adding French drains, which is glorified what they would be, but paving over the rest and building a foundation would actually leave less area to soak up water. That land is essentially designed to soak up water. This was a brook 150 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Earth and God intended.
Okay, so to put it in my words, your experience as a resident would dispute the expert testimony that we've heard.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Oliver, you're not contending that any condition on Lot 5 caused this flash flood, do you?
Lot 5 did not cause, it's in the way. And
it's in the way?
It's in the way of the water that's coming down. So if it gets impermeable.
Well, wouldn't other properties be in the way too? Genther Avenue is fairly developed, isn't it?
It's not coming down Genther, it's coming down Brookside from Kindercombe Avenue.
Okay, well, Brookside's fairly developed.
Yeah, and Brookside contains most of the water, and it leads it into Lot 5, down into the ravine, down to the train tracks. It wants to go to Hackensack River. That's what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
All right, Caroline, do you have?
So your video was from 2021, as you indicated, and I
Yes.
think I actually questioned. Is that the last time? It just seemed odd to me that we're actually approaching 2025 and your video is from 2021. You indicated, I believe, that this happens maybe once or twice a year, and I can speak from, I'm also not an engineer, but I can say that, we're all experiencing climate change, and there have been some storms and things like this happen on my own personal street as well. So your video's from 2021. Is there a certain reason for that?
After a while, you get tired of filming the same thing. I do have other videos. I do have newer videos. I have pictures. My surrounding neighbors have videos and pictures. I have videos going back to 2012, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 2012. This has been going on pre-Sandy. I've been at the house over 18 years, almost 20 years now, me and my wife. This was never an issue. Sandy came. That was the first time we really saw that kind of event in our town, really, at all, from my recollection. And the past 10 years or so, it's started to becoming a regular thing. And when certain weather comes, we know, don't park on Brookside, pull your cars up further in your driveway, park down on Maple.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Would you say that this was the more extreme or just average, below average?
This is probably the most extreme, yes, but it's not far off from any of our other videos. Always goes up over the curb. It always gets taken out my driveway. Yeah, I mean, the water goes up. Pull my cars all the way up where I park.
You're talking about linear, not
linear. Yes, yeah.
Dave, do you have any questions?
So that particular storm event that you have in there, the June 8th, are you able to cite how many inches of rain fell during that storm?
Not off the top of my head, no, I'm sorry.
Was there flooding elsewhere throughout the borough during that rain event?
I assume there's probably some low spots elsewhere besides Maple Avenue and Genther.
Okay.
But I don't know offhand, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, from what I recall, that was one of the extreme storm events we had. It was the same year as Ida. So we had the June storm event, which caused significant flooding throughout the borough, as well as same on during Ida as well, just from my recollection. I don't have the total rainfall, but it was in the 3 to 4 inch range over a short duration, roughly 20 to 40 minute time period, from what I recall.
Okay, thank you. Steve, do you have any questions?
Yes, is Lot 5 a lower elevation than Brookside?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
He asked if Lot 5 is a lower elevation than Brookside.
If you know.
If Lot 5 is lower elevation than
Brookside.
It's I'm not sure. I want to say it's even to lower, depending on where you are on the property. Parts of it, yeah. Lot 5's a weird shape. It's hard to visualize.
Steve?
So it would the water still be running down to Lot 5?
Yes.
And then after Lot 5, it would go to the river?
Yeah, it would go down to the valley there that's without trees, and the train tracks are in the way, but eventually it would get down to
It would go through the parking lot?
There's
A parking lot where? What are you referring to?
Lot 5?
Oh, the parking lot that is proposed. Yes.
No other question.
Did any of the other homes near Lot 5 flood as a result of this event?
Currently, I don't think so.
Did you have any flooding in your home, in your basement?
No, my house is built early 1900s, and it was built next to a brook, so it's a good 4 or 5 feet up from the the elevation of Brookside.
So is it your position because of this particular event, lot 5 should remain vacant and on the street?
Then I'll open it to the public for questions of the witness, only pertaining to testimony. Ms. Latunas, did you raise your hand? If you would come up and ask your question? You have to come up and speak into the microphone if you have a question.
Comment?
No, this is a question. All right, so the answer is no. Does any other member of the public have any questions of the witness? Not seeing a show of hands, I will close it to the public. Sir, your next witness?
Okay, so now we will proceed to, let's swear in.
Sir, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this proceeding shall be true, shall be done?
Yes.
And for the record, state your full name and spell your last name, please.
Yes, my first name is Akiyoshi Kakehi. The first name spelling is Akiyyoshi. The last name is Kakehi. I have lived at 575 Brookside Avenue for about 30 years.
I'm sorry, the address Brookside again?
Yes.
What's the number?
575.
So, Akiyoshi, you heard me ask the questions of the prior witness. We need to provide a foundation for the testimony you're going to be providing as to certain PowerPoint slides. So did you prepare certain PowerPoint slides in connection with this presentation?
Yes, I do, with Akiko, my wife.
Okay. And which slides are you going to be presenting currently to the board?
Okay, this is the, I'm explaining the depth of water, of the storm water, by using the our fence on the right side of the picture.
So you prepared this picture, this slide? Okay. Yes, you have to answer verbally. Yes? Okay. And when did you prepare it?
Sometime in April this year.
And why don't you describe what we're looking at on the screen right now and what it is?
The left picture is a screenshot from the previous video showing the area around the electrical pole. And as you can see, the storm water is completely covering the bottom rail of our fence on the right side. The right picture shows the height measurement of the fence. So based on this, the total water depth is estimated at 17 inches, which includes 11 inches from the bottom rail and 6 inches from the curb height.
And you also observed personally the storm conditions on June 8, 2021?
Yes. Okay. Which is actually the next slide, next videos I'm going to present.
Was this?
But go ahead.
Is this also the same
I
date?
assume it's the same day.
Excuse me, was this the same date as the previous gentleman's? And
That's
actually,
correct.
and yours as well?
Yes.
The same 2021 date?
Yes,
Okay.
but different, totally opposite side of the street, Brookside Avenue. So.
Thank you.
The next video was taken, and this one is a 2021, and also I will show you the one from the same angle in 2015. And I took these videos from in front of the house.
Okay, so this was taken on the corner of Genther and Brookside?
That is correct. It's more like a Brookside Avenue, just in front of the house. You can see the yellow-orange arrow. That's where the camera is starting and going towards the lot 5.
And that mapping that depicts Lot 5, that's also from njparcels.com website?
Yes,
Correct.
it is.
And the pink arrow showing the direction on the map with the north depicted by an N,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And the project site is marked in red as Lot 5.
Yes.
Okay, please proceed. So what are we seeing here?
We are seeing that this is Ganther Avenue and the Brookside Avenue. And the white car, it's hard to see, but the car is white. And the right side of the white car is the lot 5.
And what's the purpose of you showing this video and the prior slide to the board?
Well, I would like to present how much massive water is running onto the lot 5 and also the neighboring properties. So due to the dangerous amount of the water, parks often cut off. You can see how massive water, massive storm water is running onto the Lot 5.
And I asked Mr. Oliver if you've experienced similar levels of water, intensity of water during storms in this location since June 8th, 2021?
Yes, this year actually, May 23rd is really, it's really like a very, very heavy rain. We had
May 23rd of 2024?
24, correct.
Proceed.
Do we have a picture of that?
Let's
I think that happens during the nighttime or something, and
Okay.
we couldn't take a picture. But we have a picture that the garbage can is the running, and you can against that fence. We can see the bunch of garbage there, including the like a 35-gallon garbage can.
Okay. So the video via the slide that we're looking at accurately depicts what you videoed and what you saw on June 8th, 2021. Correct?
Correct.
And that you've seen and experienced, like Mr. Oliver, similar episodes of water flow with similar velocity and volume since that date, correct?
Correct.
Please proceed.
Okay, this is the oldest video we have.
So this is a video, the slide says recorded on 5/31/2015 by Aki and Akiko Kahehi, right?
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Go ahead. And you took this video as well?
Yeah.
And what does it show?
Basically the same thing. We had this massive storm water running backdated, and the last 9 years, especially the past 5 years, extreme storm water events have occurred more frequently.
And the slide that shows Lot 5 in the north arrow identifies where you were situated at the time the video was taken?
That is correct.
And what does the yellow arrow on this slide and the previous slide represent?
That's the shooting rotation angles, actually. The camera shooting movement, actually. So.
Thank you. So now we're on another slide showing 3 images, tree measurement facing south, same tree facing south, and same tree facing north.
That is correct.
Now, when were these photos taken?
This is from the 2021, from the previous videos.
So this is from June 8th, 2021?
Correct.
Taken during the time when the videos were taken?
Correct.
On that date?
Yes, these are screenshot.
And just describe for the board what these photos represent.
Okay. The tree is actually stands near the southwest corner of Lot 5. The green dot in the upper left picture indicates the tree's location. The 2 pictures on the right are screenshots from the previous 2021 videos, as I explained, and indicate water depth of 16 inches. You can estimate those 16 inches from the tree shape and profile.
And the purpose of showing the 16 inches is to show the level of water in that part of your neighborhood on that date during that storm event, correct?
That is correct.
Anything else about these 3 photos? No?
No.
Okay. You want to move on to the next?
Well, actually, okay, one more, I'm sorry.
Okay, so now we're on a slide, and it shows and it stated there, storm sewer on the corner of Brookside and Genther.
That is correct.
So is the yellow arrow pointing to that storm sewer on the corner of Brookside and Genther?
Yes.
Okay. And we have the same north arrow in Lot 5 in red, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you have a red arrow on top right with a circle, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the correct.
And was that, when was that photo, were those photos taken?
This was taken from the same video from 2021.
So June 8th of 2021, and you took those photos, correct?
It's correct.
Okay, describe to the board what those photos show and the significance of them.
Okay, the curb height at the corner of Brookside Avenue and Ganther Avenue is 9 inches. The stormwater in the right picture from the 2021 video completely overflows the curb and pours onto Lot 5.
Anything else that you want to tell the board about those two photos?
No.
So, moving on to the next slide.
Next slide is.
So that's that concludes the presentation by this particular witness. Want to open it up to cross-examination?
Yeah. Mr. Whitaker, do you have any questions?
So you have an arrow showing where the water is on that corner, and Lot 5 is to the right of your arrow, as I'm looking at it there. So where is the water coming from? Is it coming down Brookside?
Most of the water is coming from Brookside, that is correct.
So it's not coming off of Lot 5, it's already started somewhere else and
That's
it's running
correct.
down?
That's also.
Okay. You're on Brookside.
Yes, I'm on Brookside.
How many drainage facilities do you have on your property as far as a drainage detention system is concerned?
The corner is, there's one on the corner right here, and also the one at the corner of Maple and Brookside Avenue.
So those
and
are...
also, I'm sorry, there's also another one, totally opposite side, which is the Liam side, Liam Oliver side. So there are 2 and 3.
So I think you misunderstood my question. I asked what type of drainage facilities do you have on your property?
Our property? No, we don't have anything.
You don't have any? Okay.
No.
You have gutters on your house?
Yes, I do.
You have leaders on your house?
Yes, I do.
Do they go into dry wells on your property? Or do they splash out onto the lawn?
No, it's going to saturate into our yards.
It just goes off and into your yard? Doesn't go into any type of a pit?
No.
Nothing further.
Don't go away. I was looking at the pictures, and it seems that during the rain event, you do get this water situation, flooding if you would. But then it appears that after the rain stops, the water goes away. It subsides, runs off, whatever. Because I'm looking at those two, and I see that there's no water. After this event, does the water remain on the town, or does it go away?
Water remains very short period of time, actually, maybe a couple hours. Mm-hmm. But the basically the soil really observed. Soil is very saturated, mm-hmm. and even our yard, it's really a dump. So when you step on the water, really squeeze out. Mm-hmm. So it's really running through the Lot 5, basically. Okay. It doesn't sit there because of the elevations.
Because of the topography, it seems that the water would continue to flow down to the train tracks.
That is correct, I think.
Okay. So if this property were built, the water that we're seeing in here, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that the water that we're seeing there would still continue to run down.
Later on the slides, I will explain that's not going to happen because the new project, they raised the elevation quite a bit. So some areas like 7 feet higher the current elevation. So that's going to really almost like a blocking this current natural water flow and then
doesn't go around?
redirect to the neighboring properties.
But it doesn't go around the buildings? Or does it go around the buildings? Because what I'm getting at is, if I remember a phrase, water seeks its own level, it's going from a higher elevation, more than 7 feet, running down. It does obviously flood. But once the rain stops and the source of the water goes away, the water itself continues to run down to the train tracks and to the river. And I'm curious, based upon your testimony, if this property will somehow stop that.
Well, yes, the new project definitely will impact our properties. Because of they put a retaining wall, and also there are lots of landscaping to raise their properties, not ours. So basically, the water flows to lower elevations, which is our properties.
So you're contending that that will act almost as a dam, holding the water back and pushing it back towards your property?
That is correct. That's what I believe that would happen.
Okay, trying to understand that. Okay.
But later on, I will show the different slides.
Oh, okay. I thought you were finished with your testimony.
Yeah, well, for now, up to this slide, next slide is a different witness, so I thought it was a good break point.
Yeah, I thought he said he wanted to do that. Then we can continue with the questions. And I jumped in. I apologize. Do any of our experts? You have questions, Steve?
Yes, I do. So that curb is continuous on Brookside and Genther?
That's a corner, pretty much.
Yeah, but the curb continues.
Oh, yes, the curb continues to the Ganther.
Continuous to the curb except for that catch basin. So the new project will have a drop curb for the driveway. So would that give it that water give it more access to Lot 5 and therefore run down Lot 5? In your opinion?
Wait. No, he's asking this particular witness the question. And answer the question if you understand the question and you're able to answer.
Yes, I do understand the question. That's possible, but at the same time, they will raise the elevation around the property lines. That's going to really block the stormwater coming down from the Brookside Avenue and redirect to our properties.
With these rain situations, how far up did the water go onto your property?
Oh, it's very, let me see, is there any videos? Yeah, I would say our house is probably like a 40-foot back.
This is the end of your property.
Yeah, this is the end of the property, and
that's your front steps there?
That's correct.
You're right now, for the record, looking at the slide that's entitled "Recorded on May 31st, 2015." Correct?
Correct.
And it shows on the left-hand side a screenshot of the video of your property, the front of your property. Correct?
Yes.
During that rain event. Okay. And based on that, are you able to answer the question as to how far up the water goes?
Maybe I have.
If you can't, you don't want to guess.
No, I don't want to guess. So.
Okay.
Okay. So with the new project, the proposed project, so if that storm situation happens and it goes down to the drop curb that's going to be installed into that Lot 5, will the water continue through that drop curb more than it would the curb that's existing now?
I believe so.
Okay. No further questions.
It does. Do you have?
I have no additional questions.
Caroline?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Bob?
None.
I have one more question.
Please.
So as a result of this flooding event, did you have damage on the property? Your basement flooded, or
No,
if you're
not
aware
our
of
property.
neighbors having flooded basements?
No, the basement never. We never got the water in the basement. We really want to keep it that way, So hopefully the new project doesn't really affect that. That's really like one of the main reasons we're here. So
So was your property damaged at all
No.
as a result of this flooding?
No,
event?
well,
Okay.
obviously the lawn is damaged, but the besides that, nothing really.
Okay.
Is your, don't go away. Is your property at a higher elevation than than Lot 5?
Slightly, right? Probably.
Okay, thank you. I think you had a question?
I have two questions. Going back to the other video, is that fence right there? Is that your fence or is that the fence across the street? That is on your property. And as a result of these pictures, I saw you went out, you measured the curb and all. Did you present any of that to the borough and ask for any sort of like mitigation on this or to?
I didn't because the neighbors did report it. Send a video to the borough. So yeah, and also we didn't know that we have to send the videos to the borough. So
Not that you have to, but I was just wondering if you.
Any other questions from the board?
I have one.
Please.
Based on the videos that we've seen, it appears that the water comes down Brookside Avenue and goes over the corner of Lot 5. How much of Lot 5 does the water actually flow over?
If you're able to answer the question.
I probably can explain a little bit later by using the drawings, the United Way submitted. So
Okay, I'll hold off.
Okay. Does any member of the public have any questions of the witness? Not seeing a show of hands, I'll close that to the public. Okay.
Thank you,
Sir, your next witness. And, we'll go till 9:15 and then take the 10-minute break, so we won't interrupt.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. So we have our next slide.
Hi, I'm Peter Johnson.
You swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give is the same coverage yourself? You got
Yes, I do.
a full name and spell your last name?
Peter
please?
Johnson.
Thank you. And your address?
263 Garden Place.
And Mr. Johnson, for how long have you resided at the property?
About 4 years.
No. You can't.
Answer the
You can't
questions
whisper.
and not
These are
get
questions.
answers from the audience.
I agree with Mr. Whitaker. How long have you resided at your property?
6.
Okay. And there's a slide that's up before the board entitled "Stormwater Runoff on Both Project Site and Adjoining Properties." Video from 263 Garden Place.
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take that video?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you take that video?
6/8/21.
On June 8th of 2021. Okay. And does it accurately reflect the conditions that you personally observed at the time?
Oh, yes.
And so the slide that we're looking at, you see the north arrow from the prior slides. The red property is Lot 5. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the yellow arrow depicts where you were standing and
Yes.
how you were facing. And the other yellow arrow that's curved represents.
The water flow.
Okay. So why don't you describe what we're looking at as the video is shown?
Okay, up in the video, or the shot, those are my gardens getting destroyed, and they come across.
And there's a lot of fucking water.
That's all on Lot 5 over beyond the other side of the fence. So when they put the retaining wall.
When you say on the other side of the fence, you're saying on the far end of that video?
And there's a lot of fucking.
Right.
That's Lot 5.
Right, the top of the video.
Yes. When it turns around, that's all water in there.
And there's a lot of fucking water.
Push the water onto my property. We'll see later on the water damage that it does do to my property. I have another video of that.
And with regard to this stormwater condition, as I asked the other witnesses, have you also seen or experienced similar storm events since June 8th of 2021?
Yes.
Okay. And when you've seen those storm events since June 8th of 2021, were your observations similar to what we're looking at on the video today?
Yes,
Thank you.
I have several videos.
So why don't you describe what the next slide is? It shows on top, stormwater runoff, water depth measured to be as great as 19 inches deep, and it says video and measurement by Peter and Leslie Johnson, June 8th of 2021. So why don't you describe what we're looking at with regard to this slide that you created?
Okay, so this is the corner of my property.
Are those screenshots from the video?
Yes, they are.
Go ahead.
And as you can see, the water is past those, and it's, you know, on their project site that they're going to try to build on. And it's, if you went over there, I measured it after the water subsided. The leaves were on the fence, and it was 19 inches on the bottom corner one, on the fence that went across.
19 inches high.
High. The leaves were all up there. The leaves took down several of my fences. I had a dog run, and it took them right out. There'll be another picture of that coming up.
Is there any other significance to this slide that you want to tell the board?
That they're going to be seeing a lot of water on their property.
They being the lot 5?
Yes.
And that's based on your observations not only on June 8, 2021, but subsequent to that date?
And yes, several. And I've seen it did come down once down Gunther. Also, I didn't get a picture of that. I would have liked to have had that one. That would be coming into their driveway.
Water coming down the Gunther into their driveway?
Yes, it came down another street. I didn't get a video of that one, but that's going to be problematic for them.
Okay, anything else about this slide?
Nope.
What about the next slide? Entitled 5 feet fence and 4 feet fence shows the water depth. So this was also reflecting screenshots from the video that you took on June 8, 2021?
Yes.
Okay. And please describe to the board the significance of what we're seeing on this slide.
So this is the fence. You see it nice and dry, and then here it's 12 inches higher, the water depth.
So the picture of the fence on the left, that wasn't taken on June 8th, was it?
No.
Okay, that was taken when?
Afterwards.
Afterwards? Okay, a couple days after, okay. So describe what we're looking at on the slide.
You see in this video, the shot, you see the water that's coming in, and it's going to create more damage on my fence. And in their lot, too, they're going to have problems.
Okay. So the next slide on the top states, damages reported to the town, pictures by Johnson and Kurak, June 8th, 2021.
Yes. And this is my dog run.
So, and you took that photo of that dog run?
Yes.
And that photo, and when did you take that photo, approximately?
Day after?
Okay, so around June 9th of 2021?
Yes.
And it accurately, as your other photos, accurately reflects what you saw at the time you took the photograph?
Yes.
Okay, describe what the slide represents, please.
This was a dog run that we had put in for 2 German Shepherds, and it just totally took 2 of the fences down, and in the back where the wheelbarrow is, that was my flower beds that were washed away also. So I had that damage also, but the dog run was the biggest. Now I've actually gone back to the tree and put it, my dog run only goes past the tree about 12 feet now, because I'm not going to do this every time it happens, because we've had several of these storms come through and do damage on my property.
And on the right, the 2 yellow arrows, they represent where the pictures are taken?
Yeah. No, actually, we're on the top one. That's where I'm kind of standing, shooting back.
So on the top left corner is where the arrow is showing where that picture's taken?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay, and the blue arrow is pointed towards the project
That's the
site.
water flow, yeah.
As the water's flowing in that direction.
Right.
Next slide. Is that it? Okay, so that's it for Mr.
We
Johnson.
also submitted this to the town.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Oh,
Hold on. Just tell me what you're about to, you also said you submitted this to the town. What are you referring to?
just videos.
Okay, so you submitted these videos to the town.
Right.
And when did you do that? Approximately.
August 24, 2024.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's it for Mr. Johnson.
Dave, do you?
Cross-examination.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Dave, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Steve?
Yes, you spoke about the retaining walls, proposed retaining walls. Would that contain the water more on that property, Lot 5?
Say that again, please.
The proposed retaining walls.
Yes.
So when the water comes down, from looking at those pictures and video, it seems like the water flows more on your property now than any other property.
With the retaining wall, it would push more onto my property, yes.
Well, I mean, if it goes down and it hits that, drop curb, then it would go into their property much sooner because of the curb cut. So would that eliminate some water off of your property?
I don't think so.
No further questions?
Not the way it's set up.
Caroline?
Nothing, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Bob?
Mr. Johnson, you indicated, I'm confused and maybe my dates are wrong. This event took place on June 8th, 21. There was a video this next day, 6/9/21. You said you submitted the video to the town on 8/24/24.
That's incorrect. It's September 8th, 2021. I have too many numbers up there.
9/8/21.
September 18th, 2021.
18th.
Okay. Thank you.
Does any member of the board have any questions?
The attorney?
Mr. Whitaker, I think.
Oh, I apologize, sir.
No problem, no apologies needed. So you waited basically 3 months before you contacted the town.
Yes.
Your background, civil engineer?
No.
Looking at the video, am I correct that the water is running down Brookside and it's running over properties, but it's not water emanating off of Lot 5?
It's coming.
Coming down the street.
It's coming across both properties at the same time.
Coming across?
Yes.
But it's not coming from, it's coming upstream,
Yes,
if you
it
will.
is.
Okay. How old is your home?
It was, I don't know, we just bought it 5 years ago.
6 years ago, I think.
Yes.
How many drainage facilities do you have underground on your property?
None.
You have gutters on your home?
Yes, I do.
You have leaders on your home?
No.
So the water hits the gutters and just flows off?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
I'm curious, hearing this, and obviously there are going to be more. Is it your view, not an expert opinion, obviously, but living there, you know the topography. Is it your view that the construction of this property will actually make it worse? Or will it just be the same? The water will run out and just continue running around, except instead of running straight across 5, it'll go around buildings?
No, I'm concerned that the retaining wall that they're proposing is going to start up and it's going to push the water onto my property more, and I'm going to be losing my fences again and my gardens.
Okay.
And it flows down into the next lot, which did damage down there several times.
So it's your belief that this construction, if approved, will actually make things worse and cause the water to, you to have more water on your property?
Yes, it will.
Thank you. Does any member of the board have any questions? Okay, then I'll open it to the public. Does any member of the public have questions of the witness? Not seeing a show of hands, I'll close it to the public. Sir?
Okay, yes. Next witness, who's up?
Oh.
You swear or affirm that the testimony will give in this proceeding shall be true, shall be God?
Yes.
For the record, state your full name and spell your last name, please.
My first name is Jarek, Jarek, and my last name is Kurash, Kurach. And I live at 273 Garden Place, which is back to back with lot 5.
And Jarek, how long have you lived at that address?
6 years.
And we're now up to, Kiko, what slide are we up to?
This is the bottom part.
Okay, so this would.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Right. So Jarek, we're looking at the slide we originally saw. Damages reported to the town. Pictures by Johnson and Kurach, 6/8/2021. So you're the Kurach part of this slide,
yes.
And now we're seeing the bottom portion, correct?
Correct.
With the photo. Did you take this photo?
Yes, I did.
And when did you take this photo?
I took it on June 8th, 2021.
Okay, and does the photo accurately reflect what you saw at the time?
Correct.
Okay, and there's a yellow arrow toward the bottom, I guess, right there, that is pointing to an oval that is, I think, red.
Right.
Is the arrow representing where you stood and where you're taking the picture of?
This arrow represents where I took the picture from, and the red circle is the portion, circling the portion of the fence, which is shown in the picture.
So describe what we're seeing in that particular photo. And where were you specifically when you took the picture?
When I took the picture, I was in the middle of my backyard, which practically at this point absorbs the entire runoff that we were talking about, because it goes from, the water comes from Brookside and Genter, continues along the Lot 5 property line, and then kind of veers off. An entire thing goes onto our property, actually partially on Lot 5 and partially on Lot 6, which is ours.
And the purpose of presenting this photograph to the board is to show some damage that has occurred to the property, your property, as a result of this particular storm event, correct?
Yes, it's a lot of water, and it was the water. Actually, we have 2 kids, so we have. So this was the little plastic slide which was taken by the water. Water pushed it against the fence, and the force of the water was so strong that it actually took. If you see, there's the fence post came out of the ground with the concrete on it, and there was I think 3 of them were taken out where I had to repair the fence.
And I asked the same question to the other witnesses, Jarek. Have you experienced or witnessed from your property similar storm events since June 8th of 2021?
Yes, practically every time every time there's a significant rain, it depends on the amount of rain. The water always flows that way. It's either 2 inches, 3 inches, or in this particular event, it was 12 inches of water. So I was wading in it, knee deep.
Okay, you can move on to the next slide, please. So this is entitled Stormwater from Lake Street and Kinderkamek Road on September 5th of 2021. And it says video from Jay's Pharmacy on Kinderkamek Road facing Brookside Avenue. Correct?
Correct.
And if you can just, using the arrows, first the yellow arrow and then the blue arrows, depict or describe the significance of what we're looking at.
Okay, so this is perfect picture which shows where this water actually comes from. On the corner of Brookside and Kinderkamek, it's like a 5-way intersection. Water goes down all the roads, and it turns into Brookside, and it goes entire Brookside from curb to curb is full of water.
Okay, so this is the video that you took this video?
Yes, I did.
On September 5th of 2021?
Correct.
Okay, so this is approximately 3 months after the June 8th event, correct?
Correct.
And what's the significance of you taking a video of this flooding condition at this intersection?
It just shows that there's not enough drainage, and this intersection is like basically like a pool of water. And this is I went up. It was cold that night, and there's not too many pictures because it was late. So I took the picture, where this water comes into Brookside from the intersection.
And so the video accurately depicts what you saw with your own eyes on that date and time, correct?
Yes,
Thank you. So now we're looking at a slide, the next slide. On top it says on August 3rd, 2024, rained less than 30 minutes, pictures by Jara Kurach. So can you describe, first of all, the photos on the left? You took those photos?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you took those photos on August 3rd of 2024?
Correct.
Okay, and when it says up there, and the photos, by the way, accurately reflect what you saw at the time?
Yes.
And it said rained less than 30 minutes. What's the significance of that comment?
It was because it was like a flash rain, but it was very rain was very heavy. It was not going for a long time, and it was very heavy, and it still produced this.
And the slide identifies with the blue arrow what?
This is water flow.
How the water was flowing, the direction of the water?
Correct.
Okay, and when it says looking from this side, that's where the photo was taken?
That's where the photo was taken. It was taken from my backyard towards Brookside.
And the existing fences that are dotted depict where the fences were located, correct?
Exactly. This is actually a corner of the property of Lot 6 and Lot 5. Actually, from the higher post, which is the Peters post, all the way into the photo is actually their property. I have it fenced off right now because I actually thought it was mine, but it's not. So actually, my fence cuts into their property right now. So it has to be changed when they build, if they build.
Okay. So now moving on to the next slide, entitled "Stormwater Runoff." Pictures by Jara Kurach, August 3rd, 2024. So first on the left-hand side, that's a photo that you took on August 3rd, 2024.
Yes.
And it accurately depicts what you saw at the time.
Yes.
And where did you take this photo from?
I took this photo I was about 5 feet from my fence, and now this is a very good photo to show how the water runoff goes. Actually, that yellow line.
Oh, would you speak into the microphone, please?
Yes. Actually, that yellow line on the left is exactly where the Lot 5 and Peter's property meet. What happens is they are building retainer wall, which is a little lower up on top, and it goes up and up and goes up to 3 and 4 feet. So all that water to the right of the yellow line will not be there anymore because that's going to be higher ground. It's going to be about 3 feet high, and there's going to be a retaining wall. So that water will not go on their property anymore. It will go on mine and Peter's only. So we will share the only. That water will not go on theirs. It will rip through mine. So the Peter's garden will be ripped a lot more, and we hope that we're not going to have the water in our basements because of that. We don't right now.
Anything else about that slide that we're seeing that you want to advise the board of? If not, we can move on to the next slide, please. Okay. So this is entitled "Stormwater Runoff 29 feet from southeast corner into the project site." Pictures by Jara Kurach, August 3rd, 2024. You took this photo?
Yes.
And it accurately depicts what you saw at the time, and you took it on August 3rd, 2024?
Correct.
Okay, and please describe the different identifications on that photo.
Okay, so the red circle is again a corner of Lot 6. If you see how much that water cuts into Lot 6 right now, it's about 19 plus 10, 20, 30 feet. that's proposed parking lot. When you stand on this post, I think if I remember, because that retaining wall is not even. It starts at approximately like 1 foot and then goes up to 4 feet, and somebody was saying that it's 7, even farther. But that post will not be there, but the retaining wall will be there. So all that water is not going to go there anymore. It's going to go onto my lot instead of theirs. Water will seek lower ground.
Okay. And the 8 feet, 11 feet, and 10 feet that are shown by the arrows, what does that represent?
That represents the width of the runoff that is on their property. So actually, they bear, in this particular spot, they bear the most of the runoff of that water, because it goes maybe 10 feet to the other side. So if they build what they're trying to do, all that water, they will not share almost any. They probably will share some up on top, but it will probably flow down that retaining wall. And at this point, all of that water will be on my property.
So the project site that is identified in yellow with the line, that's lot 5?
Yes, that's lot 5. Everything below, it's our lot.
Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's the end of this testimony from Mr. Kurach.
Mr. Whitaker?
Mr. Kurach, you're not a civil engineer, correct?
Not yet.
At this point, the water that you've been describing, like I've heard from the other witnesses, this is water not emanating from Lot 5, but flowing past Lot 5, correct?
Yeah.
It emanates from Kinderkamak Road. It emanates from Kinderkamak Road.
Correct.
And it keeps collecting from other properties and runs down the road.
Yes.
How old is your house?
1950, I think it was built.
How many drainage facilities do you have on your property?
I'm not sure. There might be some seepage pits under there, but I don't know.
Nothing that you know, nothing you've installed?
That I know, no.
Any dry wells or anything like that from your gutters and leaders, assuming you have gutters and leaders?
I'm not aware of, maybe.
So water from your property, sheet flows off the property if it doesn't go into any seepage pits?
Yeah, like any property.
Now this original storm occurred back in 2021. You've got slides of more recent storms?
Yeah, we have
the 2024 that you just showed me. That was August of 2024.
Right.
Have you contacted the town in any of these other photos that you've had since the 2021 storm?
We thought that 2021 would be enough for the town to know that.
You never followed up?
Well,
no, you know what?
Wait.
I don't want answers from the audience.
Okay.
Mr. Whitaker.
He's right.
Of course he is. Mr. Whitaker is correct. These questions are for the witness. The witness and witness only has to answer the questions.
Okay.
Please continue.
So my question is, you haven't contacted the town since 2021?
Me personally, no, I didn't.
But you've brought the attention of this issue and this question you have since 2021, now that there's been a application for a facility for the developmentally challenged to be living there, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
See, it's 9:12. We'll try and do the experts, and then we'll suspend. Okay. Steve?
Yes. Where is your home located on the property?
273 Garden Place.
But on the property, where is it located?
It's closer to Garden Place.
Garden Place, okay. So then it drops down, your property drops down. You were saying you were afraid of flooding. So do you know the...
Yeah, I don't know how high that water will raise after they do what they do. I don't know.
Do you know the elevation from the point of flooding to your house?
Maybe 3 feet, I would say.
Maybe more?
Maybe more.
Dave?
I have no questions.
All right. Caroline?
No, thank you.
Bob?
No questions.
Any member of the board have...
Yeah, just one quick question. So in this storm, how deep would you say the water was?
I was wading in it knee deep, so it was like maybe, by the time it hit our property, it was I was knee deep in the water.
Okay, thank you.
Does any other member of the board have any questions? No? Okay, it is 9:13, so we're going to carry this case until 7:30 on January 22nd without need for further notice. That's the Wednesday,
right?
the Wednesday after the holiday.
Oh,
Okay. With that, it's 9:30. We'll take a break until 9:25. Restrooms are in the hallway directly behind us. And if everybody will respect the need
Have a
for
nice holiday,
privacy.
everyone.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
Say hello to the gang.
8, and I go to sleep at night. Sir, do you have the signed resolutions? Oh, I didn't sign them. Thank you.
I wanted to see, I didn't have any.
It's already slacking.
Get rid of this guy. That's right, yeah.
Dodging a bullet.
We're gonna, where are we here? Resolution.
I think the main one is just the
Go to the last page.
major development.
Oh, Chris is going to sign that.
Need your pen.
Signature, and then Steve can fill in yeses and nos and maybes. Do I have to sign the other things? No,
Well, maybe you leave.
just the last
You can
page.
leave the door open now, if you could share some of it.
Okay, 2 things for your signature.
All right.
You can use mine.
Oh, thank you.
No charge.
So,
Do you want those exhibits that I have?
I don't think we need them. I think Ray's going to get up first.
This
and then-
one?
Thanks.
You're getting an easy night?
Okay, I
Thank
take
you.
my pen. Steve will take his papers.
You're getting an easy night?
And,
Okay.
does that conclude my official duties?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
The last thing you have to sign?
That's it. I think that might be the last thing I sign here.
Uh-oh.
And I put the car in reverse and didn't look.
That's all right. It's bad.
It's bad.
Look at that. It looks like beat out a lot.
I asked for
Careful.
nose out.
Did you get caught on it?
I think it came out. I should have been looking. Karen will be annoyed at me.
I think it was Carolyn's plug.
You don't want to cross her.
Yeah.
Little bent here.
Not now.
Hopefully it works. Just let her know that it came out.
It's in. Okay.
Yes.
No harm, no foul. Okay.
Yeah. Very true.
Oh, gosh. These are copies.
What's that? Architectural plans. Oh, no, I'll be here, but I hope he presents testimony from an expert witness on why this will exacerbate things, flooding. I mean, I'm listening to it, it's terrible, okay, but it goes away. And how will this make it worse? I think he should present testimony on it.
Just don't walk around.
Play a retaining wall. Okay, we've got 40 seconds.
That's what fighters feel like when they're waiting.
Mhm.
Just to start.
Right. Do we have everybody we need? We have the applicant, we have the attorney, okay.
Anybody else?
Okay, if I call the case and no one comes up, then we know we got a problem.
We're a hurry up and wait kind of group.
Okay, it's 9:25 and we're back in session. I'll call calendar 883-24, Soroyo Realty LLC.
Thank you, Chairman. Santo Lampi on behalf of Soroyo Realty LLC. This is the continuation. Hopefully it works. This is now our third hearing. We were here back in November. We had concluded with Mr. Costa's engineering testimony, and in the interim, we had submitted some revised Costa engineering drawings, which addressed a lot of the comments that remained open in the Neglia letter. One of the drawings that was submitted in that package was the landscape plan regarding lighting along the front with bollards and things of that nature. So to keep the application moving, Chairman, I think we're in receipt of the latest
T&M review letter dated December 13th, as well as the latest Neglia review letter with the revision date of December 13th as well. In reviewing the Neglia review letter, it appears that most of the items had been addressed by that revised set. I think we can say confidently that any other of the technical items in nature, I know there's a question about scaling, those can be addressed and will be addressed. So I think with that, we can have Mr. Vergona sworn in and we can start the architectural testimony this evening.
Mr. Vergona, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give in this proceeding shall be true, so help you God?
I do.
And state your full name and spell your last name, please.
It's Raymond Vergona, V-I-R-G-O-N-A. My address is 125 River Road, Edgewater, New Jersey.
Mr. Chairman, he can be qualified without the need for any additional testimony if the board is
He's
aware.
appeared before us before you.
Yes.
We accept you as an expert witness.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Vergona. Mr. Vergona, up on the easel is the rendering. Is that the rendering that was marked as A2 back on the October 21st public hearing? I believe it was, yes. And that's the rendering prepared by your office? Yes. And can you just kind of explain the rendering? Yes. The rendering is a view of the building taken from the corner of Verdun and Kinderkamak Road. And you can see the architectural style is a kind of a transitional style with some traditional elements and some modern touches. If I go to the rendering, you'll see that the Kinderkamak Road side, which is on the left, shows the storefronts and sidewalk and entrances to the retail space. The building is generally an L shape. We've taken the Kinderkamak Road side is unbroken. We don't have any driveways and so on, which interrupt the retail. Retail extends all the way across and wraps the corner on Kinderkamak. Behind that retail, which you'll see from the floor plans, are 6 dwelling units, not accessible from the front, only from the lobby area and the rear. Above the retail is 2 stories of dwelling units. We have a total of 44 apartments in the building, predominantly 1 bedrooms. If we go to the right of the rendering, where we have Verdun, the lobby of the building occurs along that street. And then farther to the east, there's a driveway, which you'll see on my other plans, which leads you under the building to a parking area and garage behind the building wing. The materials of the building are brick. We have metal roofs, which is the gray color, and a combination of paneling and so on for accents. The corner is a stone element, which adds emphasis to that location. The windows are double-hung windows in a somewhat traditional pattern. And we've got a generous sidewalk and area landscape, which you'll see on the engineering plan, on the retail side.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Money Matters. My name is Kim Hatza, and I'm a business attorney at Growth Counsel in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're a business transaction boutique and represent companies across industries. I focus my practice in the areas of life sciences and technology.
Primarily hidden. As you can see from this view, you don't see any parking. The parking is essentially behind the building wing on the far right and under the retail space in a garage which is partially below grade and partially above grade. The property slopes downward from Kinderkmack toward the east, and we're taking advantage of that in the ability to get a garage under the building, which is partially exposed and partially submerged. The lobby for the building, therefore, is kind of at a mid-level. It's not at the retail level because the street, Verdant, slopes downward. So the lobby is about 4 feet lower than the retail space, which you'll see on my two-dimensional elevations and on the floor plans. So the object was reflect as much retail as possible, do a building that we think is in character with the neighborhood, try to de-emphasize the parking as much as possible aesthetically, and create green space and a desirable visual environment along Kinderkmack.
So,
That
Mr. Vergona,
essentially
you
was
just
the basis
mentioned
for the design.
about style-wise. Did you take any inspiration from anything within Oradell, or?
I think it's a somewhat traditional look. We thought that would probably best suit this location. And you can see there are elements. There are dormers and mansards. There are roof overhangs, and then somewhat traditional treatment of windows, all which add to that more traditional rather than modern style.
What drawing would you like to move to, Mr. Vergona?
If we go to SK1,
I know what's the seat.
SK1 is the two-dimensional building elevation. And
Mr. Vergona, that's the document that was submitted with the application?
Yes, it was. This drawing contains the elevations of Kinderkmack Road and Verdant, and it also has building statistics on the left side, gives the building area broken down, and it also gives the unit tabulation. We have 44 dwelling units, 7 of which are affordable housing units, divided among 1, 2, and 3 bedroom categories. If we look first at the Verdant elevation on the lower right, you'll see what I was beginning to describe. On this elevation, the lobby entrance is almost at the center of the elevation, but you can see the floor level is lower than the retail level because of the slope of the road, which is shown on the grade elevations of this elevation. Excuse me. On the far right of this, you'll see an opening, which is the 12-foot high opening, which leads you under the building to the parking areas that I described before. This elevation has the same architectural style as the Kinderkmack Road elevation, the treatment of the brick, stone, glass, metal roofs, and traditional touches, window detailing, etc. The Kinderkmack Road elevation is pretty straightforward. Kinderkmack Road is quite level, and so the retail space strings along that building facade. There's extensive glass, which would be the retail storefronts. If we go to SK2, SK2 is the other 2 building elevations. What I'm going to do is turn to what we've done is we've done a colorized version of SK2.
So
which
let's
is different
mark that,
than what
Mr.
was.
Vergona.
Yes.
Mr. Regan, I'm up to A8.
A8, okay.
So, Mr. Vergona, if you could mark it as A8, today is December 16th, and this is the colorized version Of which sheet, please?
Of the SK2 drawing, which has the other two building elevations. The elevation on the upper portion is the north elevation. It's the end of the building. It shows the treatment, the architectural treatment, combination of brick and siding with the same overhang that we have in the front.
So, Mr. Vergona, that vantage point is looking south towards the property from the adjacent lot?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, excuse me. So what you're showing the board, I can't see it, which is fine. No, that's fine. It's colorized of the same SK2 plans. It's just that this is in color and I'm looking at black and white because that's what you submitted?
The other element that's on this is the landscape. Some of the landscaping has been shown.
No, it's okay. I'd rather have the board see. It's fine. Is this something that was submitted or?
I don't have a PDF.
This was not something that was submitted. This is something that I brought tonight.
Okay.
So it's a colorized version of SK2 with additional
planting shown.
Planting showing?
Yes, and primarily on the elevation at the lower part of the sheet is the east elevation of the building, which you would be viewing from the post office side looking toward this property. And on the left side of this elevation is the area where you drive under the building into the rear parking area or garage. Again, the material, the colors will be the same as the two street elevations. Some of the detailing is the same. The mansard treatment is the same generally as what's seen on Kinderkamak Road. I think this just shows better the building, not only for color, but for the windows show better in this type of elevation. So these are the other two elevations, and I'll go to SK3. By the way, on this elevation, excuse me, you'll see that the garage floor is shown about a half level down, about 4 feet down from the grade level of the parking area. If we go to SK3, SK3 is the lobby level and garage level of the building. The way the building works for parking is you come into the driveway and drive under the building, which is on the upper right portion of the sheet. As you're there, you make a left turn and go down a ramp, which is about a half level down to the garage area. The garage area has a total of 33 cars.
Where's that driveway, Mr. Vergona?
The driveway leads from Verdun. You make a left down a ramp, and you're into the garage.
So the bottom of that page is Kinderkamak Road?
The bottom is Kinderkamak, and the right side is Verdun.
Thank you.
In those 33 spaces, there are 2 handicap spaces. There is handicapped access from this level to the lobby level. The lobby level is about a half a level higher than the garage and a half a level lower than the retail. The lobby occurs here. There's a vestibule, a package and mail room, and a generous sized lobby, as well as fire stairs and a trash and recycling room at the upper right portion of the L. The other spaces, which are off the main driveway, are handicap spaces immediately adjacent to one of the entrances to the building. On the lower right corner is a large meter and mechanical room, which is below the retail on the corner of Kinderkamak and Verdun. If we go to SK4, SK4 is the first floor level of the building where the retail occurs. So at the lower part of this plan, you'll see retail space, which
occupies the entire Kinderkamak Road frontage. We have about 5,200 square feet of total retail space. There's one individual one on the left side, and on the rest is a combined 4,000 plus square foot area of retail, which we anticipate will be divided at some time when there are tenants.
So, Mr. Vergona, the only reason why it presents as two separate retail spaces currently is because of some kind of access?
Yes, there's a fire stair which leads from the upper floors down, and that interrupts the two spaces.
And we imagine that the remainder of that commercial space will be partitioned or divided depending on the tenant mix in the commercial space.
That's correct. Because there is a half a level difference, the lobby will have a high ceiling, so that is shown on the right side of this plan. And in addition to that, we show a lounge and fitness room area amenity adjacent to that. Behind the retail space, off a residential corridor, are 6 dwelling units, 2 of which are affordable. These units have no access to the front of the building. They're only access through the corridor. And they're about a half a level above ground at the rear of the building, or at the east side of the building. Those are the 6 units which we're requesting a variance for, as ground floor units are not permitted in this type of building. Were we to try to extend the retail space back, we'd have an excessive amount of retail. I don't think it would be viable. And I don't think that the building would support that. The retail space would get quite deep and would change the nature of our project. So these units, although they are ground floor units, are really not visible from anywhere but the east side of the building. And they are above ground. Drawing SK3 is the second floor plan. This is more or less the typical floor. There are 19 units on this floor. The areas and so on are given on the right side. In addition to the 19 units, we have some tenant storage closets. And of course, we have an elevator and our fire stairs as well. And the third floor plan is shown as well, also with 19 units. The reason there's a different plan is there's a slight difference in the breakdown of the units based on the affordable housing and so on and so forth. One other item I did want to address concerned the height of the building. And I'm going to go to drawing SK1 for that. On the left side of the front elevation, you'll see the building height is defined, or not defined, but called out. And depending whether we use the commercial standard or the residential standard to determine the height, the building is either 45 foot 5 1/4 or 45 foot 4 5/8 inches tall. And that slight difference really doesn't mean much. It's just based on the difference of the way the grades are taken around the perimeter of the building. What's a little deceptive about this is that the height of the building is taken to the top of the fire stair, which is a very unusual case. Most zoning ordinances do not take the building height from the extreme height. They usually exempt the stair and elevator bulkheads. But in this case, we are taking it that way. So that essentially increases the distance 9 feet from the main roof to the number we're using. Therefore, if you deducted 9 feet from the 35-foot plus, our main roof is really about 36 feet above the average grade. And the average grade is not the Kinderkamack roadside, but it's taken as an average around the building, and the ground level is lower at the east side of the building than on Kinderkamack. So we're somewhat penalized in the height calculation. But for all intents and purposes, from Kinderkamack, the height of the building is about the 35 feet that's allowed in the zone.
Can you tell us the size of the bulkhead, just so that we know for the elevator and the stair?
The stair bulkhead is 9 feet high. Now, a building like this does not require a stair to go to the roof. It's very convenient to have the stair. It's good for firefighting and so on. It's not a code requirement unless the building is a taller building that a stair go to the roof. We are including it because, first of all, we think it makes for a better building. It makes for easier access to any mechanical equipment, and it helps in firefighting. And I know in the previous project we had here, the fire department had requested that the stairs be taken up to the roof. So, in a sense, we're penalized, but we're doing the right thing and doing the bulkhead at 9 feet.
It's 9 feet high, but how wide is it, Ray?
Well, the stairway is about 10 feet by 18 feet in total. And it's set in, it's not at the front face of the building. The elevator bulkhead is 4'6" above the roof. It's a much smaller element. That's like a 10 by 8, the 10 by 9 element, which is basically attached to the fire stair. So were it not for those elements, the Kinderkamack roadside would be about 35 feet high. And our height would be considerably lower.
Can you give us the unit mix, Mr. Vergona?
We have a total of 27 one-bedrooms, 15 two-bedrooms, and 2 three-bedroom affordable units. And a total of 5,406 square feet of retail space. The smallest area of our dwelling units is 770 square feet, where 600, the ordinance dictates that they can be no smaller than, they have to be above 600 square feet. So we far exceed that.
Do you have an opinion as to the size of the units and whether or not, based on your designs and experience in the field, common size, large, small?
These are, I would say these are average to slightly larger than the typical units. We've designed many apartments. We've designed approximately 5,000 apartments. And these fall in the mid-range, I would say, in terms of size. All the apartments have their own washer dryers. And the two-bedroom apartments have 2 separate baths. They're all designed to be handicapped adaptable. The building is going to be fully sprinklered, including the garage area. So it'll be a safe building. We'll meet all the sound and other fire code requirements of the building code.
Can you talk at all about the mechanicals for the building? Has that been determined?
We have not designed that yet, but these will not be through the wall units. These will probably be mini splits or heat pumps, so that there's no mechanical equipment visible from any of the building facades.
And then finally, with respect to garbage, how is, I believe Mr. Costa testified with respect to garbage, but
yes,
internally in the building, do we have chutes? How's
Yes.
garbage handled?
We have trash room and trash chute on each of the floors. The chute then discharges to a compactor, which is located, I'm looking at drawing SK3. It's located adjacent to the lobby on the ground floor. There's a double door which leads from that room directly out to the driveway, which allows for the trash to be taken out directly without coming through the building. And the room is large enough that it can handle recycling as well.
Now, Mr. Vergona, I believe it's being proposed as a residential rental building. But if it were to be a for-sale product, is it easily, does it work just the same with management and in terms of operation?
Yes, I would say so.
So nothing regarding the removal of the trash or anything like that would be impacted as a result of it being a rental versus a for-sale product?
No, not at all.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions for Mr. Vergona.
Okay, great. Steve?
In regards to the shafts on the roof, what is the finishes, or what are the finishes going to be proposed?
We're anticipating those to be brick veneer.
Dave?
Sure. As far as storage, what is being proposed for storage for the units?
We do have a few tenant storage closets, 6 to be exact, on each level. But other than that, there wouldn't be any storage available for tenants.
Okay. Now, I think in your testimony you mentioned the first floor residential units. There's no access to the retail space?
That's correct.
I guess, can you just walk me through the fire stairwell that does go through, comes out, it looks like it comes out to the front.
It does.
So do they have access to use that, or?
The retail, there are no doors, there is no access.
No, but I guess they can, but I guess just so it's clear, can the residents get access to Kinderkamek Road on the first floor?
That's correct. They can come out.
Okay.
It's a fire exit, basically.
But I guess your testimony, for clarity, there's not direct access into the retail space.
That's correct.
Okay.
You can see the corridor, which extends along the whole rear of the retail space, has no openings from the corridor into the retail.
Okay. I think in the testimony I heard at one point, there, not necessarily yours, but there's a generator for the building. Do you know what the intent is for the generator, what it's there to power, and where it would be located?
Yeah, I don't have the site plan, but the generator is not a requirement of this building.
And I don't believe it's been located. I know there might have been a question about a generator. I don't believe Mr. Costa has called for or located a generator.
I guess, would it be located, is it potentially located on the roof, or?
We usually try to avoid that in a wood building because of vibration and so on, loads. When we do, we locate them on a stair tower, but that tends to they tend to get very visible, and we don't like to do that.
Understood.
It's a last resort. Building of this size and this height does not require a generator. What we generally do power with the generator is the elevator and emergency lighting.
Okay. So it's fair enough to say the generator will be on the ground somewhere.
Yes.
To be determined.
Yes.
Okay.
And probably, it'd be certainly away from the retail space, probably in the easternmost portion of the property.
Mr. Vergona, your plan does not show a generator.
No, it doesn't.
And
that's fine.
The applicant is not proposing a generator.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
So there will be no generator.
There will be no generator.
Why are we talking about it then?
I thought I heard something.
Requested.
Oh, they did, okay.
I have not seen any comments from the fire department, but okay.
You're correct. There have been no comments from the fire department.
All right. That's fine. And then I guess on your architectural plans, there's a place for bicycles. Can you
Yes.
walk us through that and show us?
Yeah, if we go to the garage level, the bicycle area is shown, which is in the lower left corner of the garage, lower left front corner of the garage.
All right. I would assume there would be like bike racks or something there
yes.
just to store them.
Yes.
And then that's open to whoever's in that lower area?
Yes, it's open to the garage, and it's open to whoever needs that.
Okay. I'm assuming the garage itself, when that's designed, it'll have some sort of drainage for water that may come in from outside?
Yes. Typically, we'd have a trench drain at the bottom of the ramp, and then minimal drains within the garage, which would be on the secondary plans.
And then as far as the garage, is there ventilation for that?
Yes, this garage has to be a ventilated garage. It's enclosed. We're showing an areaway here in the corner for that purpose.
Okay. And then if I heard the building sprinkler?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, I have no further questions.
Carolyn?
Thank you. One of the last questions from Mr. Lampe was about if the building were a for-sale building rather than a rental building. But one thing that would need to be different is if these were for-sale units, we'd need to have a different affordable set-aside, correct?
That's correct. You're right. Absolutely. We're not anticipating this to be a for-sale building, obviously. But were it a for-sale building, we would be required to provide 20% rather than the 15% affordable, which we currently have.
Right. Just wanted to clarify that is one. Right. Excuse me. That is one difference.
In terms of the layouts, nothing would change, but in terms of the affordables, definitely.
Okay. Thank you. And then there was another comment that I think you made about this being a permitted use, but we're before the zoning board, right? Because we have residential units on the ground floor, which is supposed to be solely for retail.
That's correct.
So just to clarify that, in addition to the height variance that's requested, there is a D1 use variance because of the fact that there are residential units.
So, Mr. Regan, we've gone back and forth regarding that. I don't believe that Mr. Vergona, who's an architect, is qualified to answer as to the variances being sought and the legal implications of the nature of those variances. Right. We do have a planner. And as I believe the board is well aware, this application started at the planning board, was transferred sua sponte by the board
because of the D1 use variance of the 6 units on the first floor.
Because of the position that a D1 use variance is necessary regarding the units on the first floor.
So,
as well as the D6 height variance.
Thank you. I was just clarifying because the way that I heard Mr. Vergona's testimony is that this was a permitted use, and I just wanted to make sure there was no confusion or that something just didn't get lost and that the record was clear. And I'm also just doing my job to make sure that, in my mind, that's clear.
Mr. Vergona is not giving planning testimony, so it would not be proper for him to proffer as to whether or not a D1 use variance is required. We do have a planner to discuss that. But I
D1
understand.
use variance is required. I think that's the end of the discussion.
It's the end of the discussion. Thank you. So I also have I have a lot of questions about parking as well, but I believe you have a parking expert.
Yes, we do.
Okay, because there's also variances required for that, as well as the number, as well as some other items. So, in your design of the building, did you at all consider a design where the retail there were no residential units on the first floor and it was solely retail?
We did look at that initially. As I said, we did not want to extend the retail, what drove the dimensions of the building were basically the upper floors. We have a double-loaded corridor, and so that established the depth of the building. But when we come to the first floor plan, we didn't want to have a retail that's 65 or 70 feet deep. It's excessive amount, in our opinion, of retail space in this location. And so we utilize that space for units rather than retail.
Right, you use that term, that phrase, excessive amount of retail space in your testimony. What do you mean by excessive amount of retail space?
We felt that the project could not sustain that amount of retail space, especially since we were extending the retail across the entire Kinderkamak frontage.
Okay. I'm assuming your planner is going to get a lot more into this in light of the zone district and the overlay?
I think so.
Okay.
We know there are variances, obviously, for this.
Okay. I think that's all my questions for now, but thank you.
Bob?
I have no questions at this time.
Does any member of the board have any questions?
I have a question regarding trash from the retail establishments. How is trash going to come out of those shops, and where is it going to go to in order to be picked up by the recycling or the trash collectors?
That trash would have to be brought into the trash room, which is located, as I said, on the adjacent to the lobby. So it would have to be brought down to the driveway and into the building from the east side.
But if the retail folks can't go into those corridors, are they going to go out the front onto Kinderkamak and around?
They would have to bring it. Yes, we're anticipating somewhat smaller retail spaces.
Okay.
In the 1,000 to 1,200 square foot range, which will not generate a great deal of traffic. We're not anticipating food, and so not traffic, but trash. So we're anticipating that they would come around and use this trash room, the same trash room as the building.
Okay, thank you.
Any other?
Yep. Did you consider alternative designs to address the height variance, to bring the height down? And understanding and remembering what you discussed before about the elevator bulkhead, the stair bulkhead, but were there other things that you considered that would still allow for that, let's say, roof access that the fire department asked for, and still be within the height requirement?
Well, I'll explain how we arrived at the height we did. We have 2 apartment floors which have 9-foot ceilings, which is pretty much a standard thing today in residential construction, from single family on up to multi. And a minimum amount of floor construction, a rather shallow roof. It's a flat roof, but we have to pitch it to internal drains. We don't have any exterior leaders for the main roof on the perimeter. That leaves us with a 12-foot height from the first floor to the first residential floor. Now, in that 12 feet, we have deeper construction because the retail spaces do not have the same bearing walls that we have in the floors above. So we're going to need steel and concrete or all concrete floor slab above the retail. And then generally in the retail, we're going to need some ceiling space for ductwork and the like. So the 12 feet is not an overly generous amount of height for the retail floor to floor. That's how the building height was established. We've pretty much kept to a minimum with all our dimensions.
Okay.
Mr. Vergona, if I were to tell you that the building height permitted is 35 feet, would you accept that?
Yes.
And if I were to tell you that 3 stories is permitted, would you accept that?
Of course.
And if I were to tell you that 1-story commercial with 2 stories of residential is permitted in the zone. Would you accept that?
Yes.
And did you understand that when laying out the design of the building?
Yes, I did.
And is it your opinion that in order to hit the 35 feet height, you would not be able on this site with these conditions build a 3-story building with ground floor commercial and 2 stories of residential above it?
Yes, that's correct.
And in...
Because of two things. One, because of the way the height is taken to the bulkheads rather than to the roof. And secondly, because of the grade differential in the property, which is a natural topographic feature that we're working with.
Now, Mr. Vergona, do you recall the size of this property?
It's about 39,000 square feet.
So it's under an acre, but close to an acre. Is that
Yes.
fair?
An acre is 43,560.
Mr. Vergona, this is a corner lot with 2 street frontages?
It is.
And did you take those 2 factors into consideration when designing the building?
I did.
From an architectural standpoint, you had testified that you had been to the site, you had been to the surrounding area, you've reviewed the zoning ordinances, correct?
Yes.
And those review of the zoning ordinances were in conjunction with the development team, is that correct?
That's correct.
And one member of the development team is a professional planner, is that correct?
Yes.
And you deferred to the professional planner with respect to the determination of variances on the application?
Yes.
And Mr. Vergona, you obviously understand the variances as articulated by the board planner, is that correct?
Yes.
And when you were actually designing your building, did you take into consideration the actual site, its location within the town?
We did, yes.
Did you take into consideration the buildings around the subject site?
Yes.
Did you take into consideration the Kinderkamat corridor?
Yes.
And the intent of the zoning ordinance with respect to what we would commonly refer to as a mixed-use building?
Yes.
And when you take all of those things into consideration, is that what led to this particular design and image for the subject site?
It did, generally, yes.
Up to and including its architectural design elements, the amount of brick and the different materials used?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Vergona.
One thing I also would point out, in the treatment of the facade of the building, we do have, at the center of the Kinderkamat Road facade, a roof which extends down to the the ceiling of the second floor, which tends to give a lower appearance at the center. Also, on the 2 wings which flank that, you'll see that the brick veneer stops at the sill of the windows, and there's a panel treatment above, which also tends to visually lower the appearance of the building. So we did take it, and that same treatment applies on the right-hand side as well. So we did take the feeling, the sense of height into account when we designed the building.
Mr. Vergona, I don't think anybody is going to question whether or not this building is a prominent building in the center of town. Is that your feeling of the building?
It will be prominent, yes.
And the frontage along Kinderkamat feet spans nearly 230 feet. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes.
And is this the type of building, from an architectural standpoint, that belongs on a prominent corner like this, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it does. Obviously, I'm prejudiced because I designed it. But I think it does. You can see there's also variety in the facade. It's not just a flat, unbroken plane. The storefronts recess in. The building has breaks. As I described just before, it has a roof line which comes down. There is an arch treatment at the center. So it's broken into different elements. It's not just one facade treatment across the entire frontage.
And that's not by mistake, Mr. Vergona. That was intentional. This is your vision for this corner in this prominent location in Oradell. Is that fair?
Of course, yes.
And that also includes the setbacks that you recognize and how you soften the building and change different variations, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Vergona.
All right, Dave, Steve, and Caroline, there's been additional questions. Do you have anything further based upon the questions you just heard?
I don't believe I do.
Okay.
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. In regards to the design of the building, is it similar to other buildings on Kendrick Mack Road?
It's not exactly the same as others. I mean, there are some brick buildings which would be in keeping with the brick that we're proposing. It's a more traditional color of brick. We're emphasizing the corner. Many of the buildings do not on Kindekamack, but we think it would be an interesting feature at the corner. I think it would blend well, though, in the area with what's there.
You feel it meets the character of the borough on Kendrick Mack Road?
I do, yes.
No questions.
No question,
So
okay.
can I follow up on Mr. Dupkin's question, please, regarding the character?
Please.
In light of the proposed number of units and the density involved, and I recognize you're not a planner, which was pointed out a couple times already, and you're going to have a planner. I mean, do you feel that it fits in with respect to that? There's 44 units on less than an acre. So while there might not be while the density might not be a requirement necessarily in this situation, it's certainly something that, while we might not use the word, we're all taught, it's in our minds, the number of units. And fitting into the neighborhood or the character of the development, as Mr. Depkin referenced, while that of course means architectural features, I also believe it can mean number of units and the density and intensity. And I'm sure your planner is also going to get to that, but since it was brought up, I thought perhaps you could address that as well.
I mean, it is a larger building than most of the, because the property is a larger property than the others in this area. And the attempt was to break the building down into pieces, which would tend to lessen its impact visually.
Mr. Vergona, let me ask you this question. Would you propose a smaller physical footprint on that corner, or would you propose the building at the size that it is, regardless of the number of units or commercial space that you can fit within the building?
Yeah, I wasn't hung up with the number of units, or the area of the retail to a great extent. I think the site can take it. It's a large site, as you said, it's almost an acre. 45 units an acre is not a particularly unusual density for a downtown location. It is near the train station. It could be considered a transit village type project.
Mr. Vergona, are you familiar with the term street wall? Is that a term you've heard?
I don't use that term, but...
Less educated people do. Mr. Vergona, if you were to, would you shorten the building? Would you cut 10 or 20 feet off the building along Kindekamack from a architectural standpoint?
I wouldn't. I don't see the point to it. We meet the side yard requirement on the north side, and I think the building has a better presence taking the entire frontage and extending around the corner than to just be cut short.
Would you take the third story off of the building on this corner and propose a two-story building?
I wouldn't. I don't think the building is excessively tall. And as I said, on the Kindekamack side especially, it really meets the 35-foot requirement, which is the intention of the code.
From a design standard, do you believe it's necessary to carry the property?
I think so. As I said, it's a large property. It's the largest property that I know of in the downtown area.
And that was all taken into consideration when designing the building,
Yes,
was
it
it
was.
not? Thank you, Mr. Vergona.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Isn't it possible that a smaller building would bring the property into closer compliance with building coverage and parking requirements? I know you're not the planner, but particularly the parking variance is, in my opinion, excessive. 75 spaces provided and 95 required.
And keep in mind, the 95 includes the EV
The EV,
bonus.
I know that, which is a whole other
I mean,
issue.
well, we do have a predominance of one-bedroom units. The parking actually, I think, pretty much would carry the residential portion of the building.
Yeah, it's 83
just
would be
the-
required under RESIS versus 75 provided. So eliminate the
Right.
commercial, and you're only short 8.
Right, I mean, it's the commercial that throws us way off.
That's what I'm saying. If a smaller building, those standards would be closer into compliance, I think. I mean, I'm not a planner, but I think it could be brought into closer compliance.
You're doing a nice job.
You're right. That's
Sounds
all I
like
have.
planning
Yeah.
testimony.
You know, I was trying to think of where on Kindercomack Road we've got a 3-story building. Would you help me out?
It's a good question, a good point. I'm not certain.
A 3-story building.
On the corner. Right on Oradell.
Say that again, please?
On Oradell Avenue.
On Oradell Avenue, a 3-story building.
Correct.
Right on the corner.
Oradell and Maple.
Lobers?
Oh, Charlie's. Okay. I'm talking about Kindercomack Road.
The Emerson developments?
I'm not a fan of those, but
Those are 3-story.
Yeah, because it strikes me that this would
This is Oradell.
kind of stick out in Oradell. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't really seem to fit in with the streetscape and would stand out.
It's 10 pounds and a 5-pound.
So, would you care to respond to that thought?
you know, we're set back 15 feet, which I think also lessens the impact of the height. And I think we have the opportunity here to do something really nice in the street front along Kindercomack where the retail is, which again has been revised on Mr. Costa's drawings.
It's B2 zone.
I'm just not sure how to respond because I think it is appropriate.
So, Mr. Vergona, taking into consideration the bulkhead height, which obviously creates the variance, a 3-story building is permitted in the zone.
It is.
That's the vision in this zone, in the overlay zone, is it not?
It is.
And Mr. Height will testify and get into the intent of that ordinance. This is a 3-story building, is it not?
Yes.
And with respect to the comparison to the project that you say you're not a fan on in Emerson, this is in Emerson, this is Oradell.
That's right.
Do you take that into consideration in the design as far as
Yes.
where the building sits on the property, et cetera?
Yes, as I said, we do have setbacks too, which, from my recollection, the Emerson project does not have good setbacks. And I think we have a more sensitive architectural treatment to the building as well.
But you do require a variance for height, don't you?
We do.
Yes, we do.
So if you didn't have a 3-story building, but instead of a 2-story building, would you still require a variance for height?
Can you answer that question,
I'm
Mr.
not certain
Vergona?
because, well, the reason I'm hesitating is that, you know, we have that 9 feet above whatever roof we put, which is essentially a story, but the second story or the roof story is a taller story,
because of the greater height of the roof construction and the pitch.
I
So-
think it's the D6 is triggered by the height in feet, not by the number of stories.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, I know, but I'm pursuing that thought. Yeah. So that's why I hesitated to answer the question. We'd be close anyway.
Can you also clarify, because I thought when the planner talked about this day one, or, from the initial conversation, that they said the only real reason you need a height variance is because of the additional bulkheads. Is that a correct statement? And I might have gotten it wrong. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth from the day we started. But it was originally seemed to be alluded to that the reason for the height variance was simply the additional bulkheads that you were putting on in order to incorporate
For the
fire department
staircase and for
requirement.
the elevator.
That
Well,
was said today, too.
Were not for that, we'd be slightly higher, I believe.
You'd still be higher.
Because of the topography, because there's a
Okay.
difference in
But
grade.
not a
Be a
D6.
D6.
It might be a C variance.
If the property were level, just the way it is on Kinderkamak, we would not need a variance for height.
But it's not low.
But it isn't, obviously. Okay. All right, does any member?
But Mr. Vergona, the height variance, the D6 height variance, so without getting into the planning aspect of this, there are two different height variances, correct?
Yes.
So there's a D height variance and there's a C height variance. The D height variance is triggered by the bulkhead, which you freely admit is 9 feet in excess of the roof.
Yes.
And the height of the roof is slightly above 30 feet, 35 feet, under the way height is measured in the borough of Oradell.
Yes, we would be, to your point, we would be at a C variance, not a D variance, obviously, were it not for the bulkhead.
So the bulkhead is creating the D height variance.
Yes.
And that's for the stair tower and the elevator.
That's correct. And if it was a two-story instead of a three-story, it would be that much lower. Am I correct? It would be lower by about 10 feet, yes. Okay. All right. You have a question?
Yeah, I'll ask just because I wrote it down, although I think this is the more important conversation. Can you fit a box truck or delivery truck through that opening, assuming
Yes.
all these residents are purchasing furniture?
Yes. Yes, you can.
You can fit a 13-foot or so?
A truck is not a 13-foot height. I just got a variance in Westwood. We had an 11-foot clearance under the building, and the traffic expert at that time indicated that 11 feet would accommodate a UPS or Amazon vehicle, a smaller moving truck. These are not big units. You're not going to get a huge moving truck here, emergency vehicles and so on. So the 12 feet height is more than adequate for that purpose.
And that is how things would be delivered?
A truck could come in the driveway and then under the building.
Okay.
There's room for them to turn around and stuff in there?
No, they're then in a parking lot. They could turn around using the ramp area.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any other questions from the board?
I have a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Or then what about deliveries for the retail? Where would they go?
There's small retail, we're anticipating there are going to be small retail spaces. They would be just like the other stores on Kinderkamak from the curb.
But there's no parking or loading on Kinderkamak, is there?
Our traffic expert will address some of that, but I don't think I don't know if there's a restriction there or not. I'm not certain.
Well, I don't, I mean, knowing that area, I don't see where there really is any room to have an Amazon truck loading and unloading, or delivery trucks loading and unloading for retail. I mean, you're basically saying, like with the trash, they would have to go into the underground and then bring stuff around to the stores.
Yeah, it's actually not underground, it's at ground level, but it's at a lower
they have to go
level.
into the parking for the building.
Yes.
And then bring the deliveries out from there to the front to the retail.
Yes.
You had a question?
If you wanted to decrease the density but maintain the footprint of the building, have you given any consideration to staggering the height so that maybe some portions are 2 stories and some portions are 3?
I wasn't considering that because obviously this is our proposal.
Okay.
I don't know that it would matter with respect to height.
No, it doesn't.
Density, probably, but height, I don't know. That changes with.
I don't think that
the
it would,
bulkhead.
no.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Are we going to go through discuss the other variances with the planner, or should we be doing that with the architect?
We're definitely going to discuss all of the variances and how the ordinance works and how it works for this site with the planner. The other gentleman, Mr. Page, is going to provide the parking testimony and the variance associated with that. So we're going to get through
We'll
it all.
hold till then.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions from the board? No? In that case, I'll open it to the public to ask questions of witness only about testimony. State your name and address, please.
I'm going to cut to the chase here.
Would you state your name and address, please?
Paul Atsunis, 50 Beverly Road. I'm going to cut to the chase here. Would you be able to build this building if you did not have underground parking?
The parking is partially under and partially above.
It's under the ground. It's under the building.
Some of the parking is under the building and some of the parking is at ground level.
But would you be able to build this building the way it is without that?
It just impacts the parking count, actually.
I don't understand your answer.
He's saying there would be fewer parking spaces.
Fewer parking spaces. Okay. Would there be enough parking spaces for all those residences?
I mean, that's not our proposal. We feel we have adequate parking right now. And we're taking advantage of the topography of the property at the same time.
All right. The other thing is, would you increase the number of affordable units over the 7 if it was not a rental?
We would be obligated, yes, to
And
increase.
what would you get? Another 2?
Chairman, we'd have to comply with the ordinances of the borough, obviously.
You said that it was 39,000 square feet. Do you know exactly how much the lot is?
It's on the site plan, I don't have.
Is it 40,000?
I don't have that on the architectural.
We don't know. Okay, maybe we'll know next time.
It's not on my plan. I know what the area is. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah, I was wondering what the actual was.
39,710.
Chairman, it's argument.
39.7?
Outside the scope of the rec, Chairman.
Into the mic, please.
Thank you.
Or there.
Have you other similar buildings like this with the density units that you have here on this
Yes.
lot? You do?
Yeah.
Can you tell me where they are?
Just for
Address?
density?
With this kind of density, yes.
Obviously, we've done buildings in Fort Lee. We've done buildings in, let me see, I'm not sure if Park Ridge, I did one in Park Ridge that is about the same height, which is probably close in density. Hillsdale, when we're talking about density only, we're not talking about the look of the building, let's say, but Hillsdale.
No, the same thing altogether.
Hillsdale.
Chairman, this is outside the direct testimony of the witness. I'll represent to the board.
Into
that
the mic,
Mr.
please. Just
What's
step
the
up.
problem here?
There we go.
The question is outside the direct testimony provided by the witness is the problem. Did you get that?
The testimony outside
Okay.
what he said?
He did not testify to the questions that you're asking. There was no testimony, therefore your questions are not relevant.
Well, he's the
At this point.
architect, so who else would I ask the question to? I don't know. Okay, I'll go on. So you said that you have them at Fort Lee, and where was the other place?
I don't think I should respond
So
to
I wanna
that
go and see
because I
them.
don't think that has anything to do with what I testified to.
Well, I want to see how they look. All right, you don't want to just tell me. All right. The businesses that are going to be there, where are those people going to park, the customers?
We're going to get into that with the traffic testimony.
With the traffic. Okay.
You done?
Oh, the size of the sidewalks. Can you tell me the size of the sidewalks?
You'd have to refer to the site plan for that.
You can't testify about that. That was an engineering issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's 10:31. I don't think you want to begin with another witness, but yeah. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
quick question of the
State your name and address, please.
Sure. Greg Darien, 395 Hasbrook. I have a...
Spell your last name.
Darien is Derian.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, your last name?
Vergona.
Vergona. Thank you, Mr. Vergona. A nice-looking property, I might add. But I do have a question regarding the retail space. Since the overlay zone was designed to have first-floor retail, and you're looking for a variance to that, I have some questions regarding the retail specifically. So the first question I have is the proposed tenants are only going to be able to go in and out through the front door. Is that correct? There's no access to the back door. There's no
Yes.
back door.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And as mentioned earlier, any deliveries would have to be done somehow from the parking lot and then brought around.
Yes.
But you had testified that the space available to drive through is only 12 feet high. Is that correct?
Yes.
So a UPS truck or a FedEx truck might be able to do it, but that's not really a flatbed truck. That's more like a package van. So a flatbed truck, like a 24-foot truck, which is with the lift gate on the back, which is very popular for deliveries, would that be able to fit?
Possibly, but we don't anticipate that kind of delivery in these small retail spaces.
Well, other than UPS, I think they all come with that type of...
Do they?
Yeah. And so then my question would be, there's no parking on Veldren or there's no parking on Kinderkermack Road. So I don't know just how the retail would function with such limited access. There's no back door, there's no way to, so I don't know if you had thought of that, so.
I think, they are small spaces, and we don't anticipate heavy deliveries. And there is a parking area. Will be visitor spaces there.
Right.
There will be the ability of a truck to get back there, and there would be the ability to take whatever material has to be taken around to Kinderkermack Road.
Okay, and if I was a customer of a retail space, I could park in the parking lot, but there is no way that I could access the retail space from within the building. I'd have to walk around. Is that the case?
That's correct. The residential is completely separated from the retail.
Yeah, so I have to kind of pull into a building. I'm just trying to envision in my head, I'm pulling, within a structure, it looks like a parking garage, but it's not, it's open.
Yeah.
And then somehow there's going to be some wayward finding sign that says, Joe's Shoes is around the corner, walk to the front.
I think our traffic expert will get into that.
But from a design standpoint, there is no access.
There's no path other than what you're describing, other than site on other municipally owned property.
And the height of the ceilings of the first floor.
I'm hoping to get a 10-foot height. It may be 9 when we're done. I don't have the mechanical design yet for the building.
Okay, is there any ordinances regarding the height for commercial spaces?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Please state your name and address.
Sure. It's Tom Beltoff, 74 Beechwood Road in Oradell. I have just, it's Belthoff, Tom's first name. I have a question for the architect, which is short, but I have a question to the chairman. In November's meeting, it was announced at the beginning of the meeting that this application would go on for an hour or an hour and a half, I forget the amount. I was trying to get to the meeting, and you ended early, right when public comment was, and I would like to ask a number of questions to the engineer, and I know it's late, but if I can ask for the engineer to come back next meeting, I have a number of questions related specifically to the engineer.
Will you make the engineer available at the next meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't anticipating bringing the engineer back in light of the fact that we've concluded his testimony, but I suppose.
I wouldn't ask otherwise, but it was publicly stated.
The engineer will be here at the next meeting?
Mr. Chairman, if you want to indulge the gentleman, then I will have to make the engineer available. I have no intention of making him available for any further questions. His testimony was provided and he was questioned.
I'm trying to remember what happened. I know that we ended it because we weren't going to continue anything further, and questioning was allowed.
Mr. Chairman, quite honestly, what happened was I decided not to call a witness. Everybody from the public was provided the opportunity
That's what I was trying to remember.
I don't know that we ended early. I think that's a mistake. But I didn't want to start a witness with less than...
That's the point.
So let me ask you a question, counsel. Is there some concern that your engineer may have misstated something, or my
I don't think
questions
that's really
are that
a fair comment.
Yeah. Well,
thank you, Mr.
Well, I don't think it's fair that I can't ask a question to the engineer. Okay.
The opportunity to ask questions of the engineer was available
at the end of the meeting. At the end of the public comment, then will the engineer be here? Yes, counsel.
I am not going to direct the engineer to be
I'm asking counsel.
And if counsel wishes to have the engineer here, that's his choice in the presentation of his case.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Look,
so
this
if you
is
would care to answer Mr. Beltoff, or it's not...
I'm not prepared, Mr. Chairman.
So you will...
I'm prepared to continue with the question.
So the engineer will not be available further.
Okay. I find that troubling, but it is what it is, counsel. Council asked you, would you cut the size of the length of the building? And your answer was, you wouldn't. Then council asked you, would you take a story off the building? And your answer was also, you wouldn't. But prior to that, in your testimony, you said, well, I'm going to defend my design because it's my design. If I got 5 architects in this room, do you think they would agree with your statement, or there'd be 5 different opinions? Your professional response.
I object to the question.
Why?
It's not a proper question, sir.
It 100% is a proper question.
He would have no way of knowing what 4 other architects would say.
We're dealing with speculation.
Yeah.
How do we know what 5 architects will say?
Yeah.
There's no foundation.
Understood. I will thank you, and now I know what the rules of the games are, and we'll start the games. Thank you.
I will point out that when...
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I know that we went past, but I do have a question for the architect, if I'm allowed to ask.
The architect... yeah, by all means, ask him your question.
Or even council might be able to answer. I know that we've testified a lot that the size of the retail space is anticipated about 1,000 square feet, maybe 1,200 square feet. But clearly the owners of the property, if you wanted 2 or 3 retailers, one in the 900 square feet on the left, and the other 44, they could do that. They have that ability to do that, correct?
Yes.
All right. And I would want to respond to a perceived criticism. I don't know if it was a criticism. Sam, we're not going to be ready for questions yet.
That's fine.
Hold on.
Okay.
things were done in the proper order. The witness was subjected to questions by the public. No questions were ruled out of order. No one was prevented from asking their questions. If an individual wasn't here, they were not able to ask questions. But that does not mean that either the chair, the board, or anyone else in this room prevented that question from being asked. It was the individual's choice not to be here. So I don't accept the thought that he was prevented from asking questions other than questioning ended earlier than we thought it would. And that's my belief. Thank you. It is now 10:41. We're going to carry this case.
Chairman, you still have questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. Did you ask questions of the witness? Oh, I apologize. Please come on. It's relating to this case. I thought you wanted to do it as part of the end of the meeting.
Yeah, I was
maintenance. By all means, yeah. State your name and address, please.
Sam Tripsas, 327 Maple Avenue. Tripsas. Mr. Vergona, is it possible to downscale the building to 2 stories and with less apartments?
I mean, it's always possible to downsize, but that isn't the intention or proposal.
All right. Where are the other buildings similar to that in Oradell? Where did you see those, that size building?
Chairman, I don't think that was testimony.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Are you aware that 2 stories are permitted on the east side of Kinderkamak Road and 3 stories are on the west side?
Yes.
You're aware of that?
Yes.
So why are you going 3 stories?
3 stories is
not permitted.
Heights in
No, 3 stories they're not permitted.
No, they are permitted on this side.
In the fair share housing on the east side.
Chairman.
Oh.
3 stories are permitted on the east side.
What happened to fair share housing when they negotiated 3 stories on the west side and only 2?
Fair share does not write ordinances. They may think they do, but they don't.
All right. Well,
they definitely do think.
The variance for height here relates to feet, not the number of stories.
Because we don't have any other 3-story buildings except for the one built in 1902. And that was it. All right, so you're telling me it's permitted?
3 stories is
and there's
permitted.
Nothing we can
the
do.
height is not permitted.
Nothing we can do about that.
That's why you need a variance.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you.
No, thanks, Sam. Okay, well.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask
Sure,
one
go ahead.
question, please? As far as water drainage from the roof, where is that? I think you said that there aren't any leaders on the front, on the Kinderkamak side. Where is the water drainage then from the roof?
The main roof has internal drains. They'll be taken down through the building and then piped to the detention system.
That it? Okay.
Thank you.
Then,
Thank you.
I'll try this again. We'll continue this case.
So Mr. Vergona's testimony is complete, and he's been questioned.
Just so there won't be any misunderstanding or people won't misunderstand the rules, does anyone else have any questions of Mr. Vergona? Not seeing a show of hands, yes. The answer to your question is yes.
Just for the record, Chairman.
All right, so we will continue this case on January 22nd, 2025 at 7:30 without need for further notice. It is the Wednesday after the holiday.
Okay. I thought that was a Wednesday.
Yes. Because we're not going to be meeting on the holiday. Thank you. All right. So
enjoy their holidays.
with that, all right, if we can, we're continuing the meeting, so.
You want me to get it? Actually, yes.
Do we have any old business to discuss? Any member have any old business to discuss?
I just have an item, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know whether it's old or new, but I know this is your last meeting and Emily's last meeting.
Yes.
And I want to say it's been a pleasure working with both of you. The citizens of Oradell have really been fortunate to have your service on this board. And Mr. Chairman, as the leader of the board, as the chair, I've represented land use boards since the 1980s.
Yeah.
And you set the gold standard. You're one of the top 1 or 2 chairs that I've worked with since the early 1980s. So I want to really compliment you and Emily as well for your service. It's been a pleasure working with both of you.
Okay.
I'll second those comments.
Thank you. I won't try and buy any hats today because my head is getting too small.
I'll buy one for you. Yeah, and you know what kind of hat I'm talking about.
Yes, okay. But I'll get a crown. But I want to thank you for that. It has been a pleasure. 20 years of this, but quickly. It really did. I sort of enjoyed it. I know, Emily, do you have any
Yes.
thoughts?
I've not served nearly as much time, but it's been a pleasure working with you both, absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. So that's the old business. New business. Yes.
While we're on this subject, do you have anything else to say?
I'm just following what's happening. I'm a little stunned that the chairman is...
Municipality Land Use Board would like to give their appreciation to your service, time served, both you, Emily, and yourself, Chairman.
Would you folks care to call my wife and tell her?
She may be watching.
My wife will never watch.
Councilman Carnaval, who is our liaison, has some presentations he'd like to present.
Please.
Thank you, Steve. I know it's been a long evening, so I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to recognize that 2 members of the board are participating in their final meeting after a long and successful tenure on the board, and we'd like to take this time to recognize both individuals. So, Emily, if you would just come up. On behalf of the Borough of Oradell and your colleagues on the zoning board, we just want to congratulate you for your time and dedication to the board, and we just have a certificate of recognition from the Oradell Zoning Board of Adjustment for outstanding performance and lasting contribution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's signed by the chairman, Mr. Michaelman. Mr. Michaelman, I don't know if you want to say a couple of
My phone's in the car.
I've said everything I've got to say.
Okay. So for our chairman, Mr. Michaelman, we have a plaque, the Oradell Zoning Board, 20 years of service. He started his tenure in 2004 in appreciation for your many years of dedicated service to our community. So on behalf of the borough, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. This will find a place in my office at home. I don't go there very much anymore. Thank you all. It's been a lot of fun.
And thank you to all the members of the board. I know it's been a long year and you've had a lot of important cases, but we really do appreciate your time and dedication to this community. So thank you.
Well, that was unexpected but well-deserved.
Well-deserved.
Yes. Anyway, so that's old business. New business, as is quite obvious, we will need 2 new members to replace Emily and myself. So if anybody is interested in serving on the zoning board, it's important that it be individuals with a judicial temperament. Please contact either Steve or the mayor and let them know of your interest. The mayor appoints members and the council approves. So let them know. We do need 2 new members. Thank you on that. Any new business other than that? No? Meeting open to the public? Any member of the public? No? Close the meeting to the public? In that case, let's see. It is now 10:50. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will so move.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Sure.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you all very much. Happy holidays. It has been fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching OPTV, Oradell Public Access Television.